Hello and welcome to tonight's first installment in the third adventure in the series of The Unsinkable Alice Baker, and this one is called A Study in Ice. It's still 1930, but now it's November. You've been invited to attend it's kind of like a gala dinner, get-together, fundraiser for your alma mater that will turn 130 years in January of next year. So they're basically gathering money so that they can, probably give a bursary or something. And you've been invited, and they have asked you to respond. You've told them, yes, you're going to show up and you're going to bring a lady's maid, because that's the only thing that you're allowed to bring, or the only person you're allowed to bring, because it's a girls' school. So no men allowed, not even your husband. Well, you don't have one, but others might, and they can't bring them. So, you could have arrived between the 21st and 24th, because the gala dinner is on the 24th. You decided to arrive on the 22nd, so it's not like the first day, but quite early on, because you may be wanting to revisit some old haunts of yours. The school is 1 hour's drive away from Bangor in Maine, in the middle of nowhere, in a huge mansion which was owned by Miss Gershwin. And she basically then turned it into a school, and yada yada yada. For those who want to know more, view the previous chapter where we discussed all this. So the way this works is you're going to take a train to Boston, and then from there on to Bangor. It's the same train, but there's a stopover of 1 hour in Boston. You get on the train at 7:45 in New York. There will be, so it's a sleeper car, and there will be food served. So there will be a dinner in your sleeper car. You don't have to go to the dining car, because there isn't one. It's room service, as it were. And you will be arriving in Bangor, Maine at 6:28 the next morning, where you will be picked up by James Price, who's the gardener, janitor, only male person around, and he drives the school bus. You're taking Dottie,
Obviously.
and Dottie has excused herself for a day because she has said that she needs to get some personal items for the journey, or for when you're going away. So she's basically told you that there is soup on the stove, and she's made sandwiches that you can have your own lunch, because she doesn't trust you with food apparently, or making it at least. But she will be doing dinner, of course. So what do you do on that day when you're left to your own devices?
Very curious on what she will buy, but well, it's Dottie. I will not mess with her business. I know better. I will just enjoy the day, depending on the weather, just sitting in the garden reading something, or it's winter time, right? It's November,
But
so
it's sunny, so I mean, probably not sitting down and reading, but you can definitely, I know,
I will probably
take a turn around the
take a
garden.
walk outside,
Yeah,
get some fresh air,
yeah,
move because I still need to keep moving, training my leg,
yeah.
and then probably go upstairs in my study room, reading something or even painting a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and waiting for Dottie to come back. Probably not eating any soup, but a sandwich because it's easier and quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And
So around 3 o'clock, you hear the downstairs door open. The main door opens and closes and is locked from the inside, and you hear steps coming up the stairs. First landing is where you are, and they continue up the stairs to the second landing where Dottie lives.
the moment I hear her downstairs, I will step out of the study with a plate in my hand that is empty.
Oh, nice.
And we'll just be like, oh, you're back.
Yes, Miss Alice, I'm back. I'm back. Make a spot hidden.
Because Alice is too curious.
Yeah, she's got 2 bags.
Okay, let's see
Shopping
if there's a
bags.
name on the shopping bag or if I can see anything.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yes, indeed.
That is a big whooping. Oh, I leveled up in spot hidden. I made it. Barely, but I made it.
Okay, so it is one of them does have a name on it, and it is the name of a ladies' clothing department store. So it's not like one of the designer shops or made-to-measure tailor shops that you would go to, because that's way too expensive. But it is it's a clothes shop for ladies only, and the other one you can't tell.
Okay.
Doesn't have a label on it.
just curious. Then I will keep my eyes open if she's wearing something, and the next day said I haven't seen before.
Okay, cool.
And then I
Good.
will go downstairs and bring down the um,
The plate.
plate. That was
She
the
walks
word.
upstairs. You hear her rummaging around in her room. She goes downstairs again and she goes into the kitchen. She spots that you haven't had anything besides one sandwich. And she's like, Miss Alice,
I was.
was the soup not to your liking? Did you even try it?
I did not. I was not hungry. The sandwich was very lovely. Thank you so
You had
much.
one sandwich. There's like a plate of 10 of these cut in the middle ones, you know.
That's enough for me.
Well then, I will not be cooking tonight until this is finished. So we have soup and sandwiches for tonight as well. Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it.
You are worse than my mother was, I have really to say. Sometimes you are just really projecting all my childhood memories on you'll have to eat this if you want it or not.
All right, if you don't want the soup,
No,
that's
the
fine. I
soup
will
is
make something else.
lovely. We can have soup. If I will have soup for dinner, you have whatever you fancy or
Well,
like
I
for
will have
dinner.
some soup. That's fine, and I'll take some of those sandwiches because they're really good.
They
Look, this
are.
one's got piccalilli on it. So what have you been doing? She's
Uh,
very cheerful.
I was outside taking a walk because the weather is nice and, well, you know, some training is never worse to do. And then I did some painting and some reading, just quite relaxed. Nothing much happened. You had a
You,
successful shopping?
I think I did.
Good.
How is the knee feeling in the cold? Do you feel any different?
A bit, but it's not too bad. But I think I'm now one of the persons who can tell everyone the weather is changing. I can feel it in my bones.
Yes, you would, wouldn't you?
Mhm.
Oh, and by the way, the tickets should be arriving in the post tomorrow, and basically, you know, it's first class and everything, and you've discussed this. So she says, well, so let's say so you were leaving on the 21st to arrive on the 22nd in the morning. So let's say because that would be the Saturday onto the Sunday. So let's say it's Friday.
Mhm.
So tomorrow, I will. We should be there. Let's say at 7:30, so that everything can get loaded onto the train because the train leaves at 7:45. So I will order a taxi.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there anything else that you would like us to bring besides the obvious? I mean, she doesn't do your packing; you do your own packing. But she basically, you know, is there anything that we should maybe? And she looks towards the whiskey cabinet.
Oh, I've already taken care of that. I have
Oh, good.
something already prepared for my luggage, but it's well hidden because I guess it's still not very welcome to drink up there. We will see. But if some of my friends are there, I'm quite sure we will want to have a drink.
Do you actually have a guest list? She asks.
I don't. I honestly, I don't have any contact to people I went to school with.
So it's going to be a surprise who's going to be there.
It will be kind of a surprise. I hope one or two are there that I really like. I'm afraid of one or two I really dislike are there. But I guess that's with every kind of welcome back to school.
She nods.
And I'm curious which teachers are still there.
Oh, yes, of course. But I mean, you haven't been gone that long. It's like, well, you would have graduated at 18, you're 30. What did we say? You were born in 1898.
I'm mid 30. No, beginning of 30. I should be
Yeah,
beginning of
because
30.
in 2000, well, sorry, in 1919, you were 21. So
Mhm.
you're born in 1898. Yeah. I'm gonna have to make a note because I
Yeah,
actually worked it
I will
out in my
put
head.
it in my note as well.
1898. Yeah. So you're now 33. Is that right? No, 32. Yeah.
1898.
8. Yeah. 21st of June.
32.
And
Yeah, then I'm 32.
yeah, so you would have turned 33 maybe even this year,
Yeah.
so thereabouts. You are 7 years old.
No, we are
she was
1930 or 1931.
It's 1930,
Then
so
I only can be
32.
32. But
Yeah.
I guess I'm already 32.
Yeah.
Because it's
So
winter time.
it's winter time, yes. Um, yeah, and she was 16, so she would have been, four, yeah, she was 5 years younger than, she's 5 years younger
Yeah.
than you. Yeah. Okay. Um, so, yeah, she appreciates the fact that you may not be friends with everybody, and she kind of, yeah, yes,
Just
school.
to warn you, maybe not surprisingly, I was a bit of a troublemaker.
She gives you a warm smile. Really?
But I had really good grades because nonetheless I love to learn stuff. So school was easy and fun, but outside of school you had to do things that made fun and not the sensible stuff.
She puts her chin on her fist and she says, "Nothing much has changed now, has it, madam?"
No, not really. I'm staying true to myself, as it seems.
Yes, it's in your nature.
So you might learn some stories about me that, as I said, probably will not shock you, but at least that you're warned.
Of course, I will take offense whenever somebody offends you on your behalf, but you know that too, don't you?
Yeah, but honestly, I guess no one can really offend me there because most of the stories are probably even truer than they know.
But you weren't smoking there, were you?
Not inside of the building.
Very diplomatic answer. And not all the time.
And definitely not all the time. Just on special daily occasions, but.
So, make a luck roll.
Oh god. Luck. The one thing I don't have. No. That was an 88. No.
So, was the school very strict?
Yeah, they tried to. You had to be a bit creative to do what you like and not what the school liked. So that's also why I was a bit of a troublemaker. I'm quite sure I wouldn't have stayed in school if my grades wouldn't have been that good.
So, you spent a lot of time in detention, didn't you?
Yes. That's why I can paint that well, because that is the one thing you can do in detention, reading and painting.
So, it all turned out so well.
Well, I can.
Do they know what you do?
No, they don't. I don't think so. Oh, that will be interesting. Because I
Yes.
can tell them that they fooled me to the person I am now. And I'm not sure they wanted that result.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. Oh, look, the soup's boiling. And it's vegetable soup. It's actually quite good, but it's nothing fancy. So today she's kind of like, not doing that much, and the sandwiches are normal, and well, she does some more packing, and then she sits down, she reads some in the salon. If you want to, you can chat to her, or you can play cards, whatever you do. I don't know, play chess.
I think we will just play maybe I'm teaching her some chess. That might be an idea of bit by bit, and then I will just wait for the next day to come that we can.
So the next day comes and goes. She doesn't prepare much food. She also has made sure that basically all of the perishables are used. So she only has stuff that will last for when you get back. I've also placed an order with the delicatessen. So for when we get back,
They will.
on that day, they will deliver.
Perfect.
And then, it's basically you have some lunch, then it's evening, the cab comes, the cab driver takes your stuff, drives you to I was going to say airport, drives you to Newark Central Station. You get on your train, usual stuff. You have 2 sleeper cars with adjoining door. 8 o'clock, all aboard, train leaves, knock on door, you get your food. And it is actually quite comfortable, because those old ones, they were really comfortable. I mean, think Orient Express, Agatha Christie, that type of sleeper car where you can actually sleep. And then you can decide what you do. They were smoking carts, so you could smoke in your place, so that wasn't a problem at all. And then at some point she basically goes to bed, and I assume you go to bed as well.
Yeah, on the way I would tell her maybe about one or two of the teachers that she
Hmm.
at least heard some names that we might
Hmm.
encounter when
Hmm.
we're arriving.
Hmm.
And also giving her the information that Mr. Price that is picking us up is
Hmm.
basically the handyman of the school, the one gentleman in the school.
Only
And
the one.
yes, boring, right?
Even in Catholic school, well, they were all priests, but still, there were more men.
No man at that school. That's why also nowadays, even as an adult, we are not allowed to come in male company. Some things never change there, as it seems.
No, some things never change. So, um, you actually have a good sleep,
Mm.
consider all things considered. At 6, you hear a knock,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically the conductor telling you that you will be arriving in Bangor, Maine, in 37 minutes. And he also says, and you can hear this because he makes the rounds, that as you if you open your door now, you will actually find some food. So they've basically prepared a little bit of a snack
Mm-hmm.
thingy. You know, there's a
And some
there's a
coffee, tea.
coffee, tea, and some, I don't know, insert. Did they have muffins back then? Something like that, you
Yeah,
know,
or even small sandwiches, maybe.
or a
That's
small
easy to
sandwich.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because obviously, you know, there isn't enough time to serve food because you would otherwise have to get up at 5 o'clock. So you pull into the station. Dottie has, in the meantime, knocked on the adjoining door and said, "Is there anything that you need, miss?"
No, totally fine.
Mhm,
I'm just finishing up, and
mhm,
then let's see
mhm.
how it is.
And you arrive, you get off, your luggage is placed there, and then you actually see a man who is in his 40s, maybe early 40s, and he's holding up a sign, and it actually has your name on it, Ms. Alice Baker. And yeah.
I will walk forward and be just like waving.
And he bows and says, "Miss Baker."
Mr. Price, thank you for picking us up.
Oh, James is fine.
You look fit and wonderful as always.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a fine specimen, as they say in the north. You do know that he is married because he was already married when you were there. Um, and So yeah, but he was very young. He was like 22 back then. So yeah, and his wife. Well, no, he wasn't married actually, because that would make no sense because she's just a little bit younger. Well, he wasn't married, but he was already working there. He was being apprenticed to
Mm-hmm.
the person who was the former janitor. You also know that the janitor and his family don't live in the actual house. They have a house by the side of the on the estate, but it's quite separate because yes, he is male. And he basically takes your luggage, he takes you out, he and then he it's kind of like a small bus. It can hold maybe 10 people. um does that make sense? 5 to each. Well, yeah, probably. Yeah, so it's like a middle aisle and then one seat on each side. And you can see that it's slowly starting to snow, but it's of course still dark. And you leave Bangor and you go into the nothingness that is Maine. So you are immediately surrounded by trees, and more trees, and then more trees, and there's snow everywhere, and it's cold. It is very cold. Um, Dottie is wearing the green coat that you gave her, and it actually it fits her green eyes perfectly. I mean,
It looks good on her, and it's the
it
right,
does. It does.
and
Yeah.
it's elegant, but not
Yeah.
too over the top. So
And but it's also warm, so it's really a winter thing. And she's actually quite cozy in it. And because of the very hot summer and the sun that you've been having, is her hair has turned almost red.
mm-hmm.
So she looks very Irish now. And yeah, and you arrive after about an hour, and it's still quite dark, but the sun will come up in about an hour or so, 7:30. And he opens the door. He takes out the luggage. He says, "Miss, I'll bring in the luggage and then I'll show you in." Which he doesn't really need to do because you know it already. It's like those wide stairs that lead up to the main entrance. Um, and he says, "Well, they are all expecting you. You've been assigned rooms. It's I understand the room, your old room, at the back of the house. I was a bit surprised because it's a little bit out of the way, but they
That's
said that it was going to be fine.
it's
So I'm going to take your luggage there."
Thank you so much. That's the perfect choice for me.
And he vanishes, and you can go inside if you like.
Okay, let's start the adventure, Dottie, and I'll step inside.
Okay, and you are met by a woman in her mid 40s, and um, oh, Miss Baker, Sarah Brightwood, uh, the governess. It is so nice to meet you. And she shakes your hand. She extends her
I
hand to
will
you.
shake her hand. Miss Brightwood, it has been ages.
Yes, it has, hasn't it?
Congratulations to be governess now.
Oh, thank you,
What a
thank
good
you,
choice for the school.
thank you so much. Well, welcome and welcome. I understand that this is Miss Williams. You wrote about her in your letter. And
Yes.
welcome to the school, Miss Williams. Um, I don't know if Price has already told you that where we have put you up. We just felt it was appropriate to put you into your old room because you really enjoyed that room, didn't you?
I love that
With the
room.
wisteria at the back.
Well, it's beautiful to look at.
Yes, it is, isn't it just? Well, there will be breakfast in about an hour, and it will be served for the young ladies in the dining room, and the servants can then eat in the kitchen. And she doesn't even glance at Dottie; she completely ignores her after she's said hello to her. So, and your servant, we have put her in the room next to you, or next to yours.
Just to make
Price.
it clear, she's my assistant, not my servant.
Oh, I see.
Just for
Well,
future planning. But
as I was saying,
breakfast sounds good.
I will take you to your rooms. And she, excuse me, that wasn't her, that was me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Alice is just like, I know the way. If you have something important to do, I can find the way myself. I haven't forgotten how to get there.
oh, of course, of course. Yes, well, I actually do have matters to attend to. Well, I will probably be seeing you at breakfast then,
Exactly.
Ms. Baker.
Thank you so much. See
And
you
she
in a bit.
keeps ignoring Dottie.
Oh boy.
And you walk ahead, and
Mhm.
Dottie actually falls in step with you, 1.5 steps behind you and to your right.
I'm sorry, Dottie. I never wrote that you're my servant. You are not. You are much more than that.
You don't need to say anything. The mistake is entirely hers.
Yeah. So you will have breakfast with us, obviously. You will not go in the breakfast with the
That is going
servants.
to cause a scandal. She made it absolutely clear, didn't she?
Well, you are no servant. That's why I said you are my assistant. That is not a
I'm not sure if she
servant.
actually understood
She will
that
learn that.
finer distinction. Good.
She
All
knows
right.
me from before, and she will learn that I haven't changed a single bit.
Oh dear. And you know that behind your back, Dottie is rolling her eyes and doing the, oh my God,
Mhm.
not again. And you walk up. It's on the second floor at the very end of the very well, the building is very deep. It's huge. It's huge. It took you in your first year. It took you about 3 months to explore it all. And sometimes you wonder if there isn't a nook or cranny somewhere in the attic or the basement that you didn't find, because it's also old and So you arrive in your room, and Dottie's is next to yours. So yours is at the very back of the house, overlooking the garden. Oh, well, I mean, it's a huge estate, but where you look down, it's actually the garden, and then that's surrounded by trees. You have your own kind of like almost like a private forest there. And um, and there's this huge wisteria plant tree thingy I don't know. Probably they're not winter blooming, so they would probably not be in bloom now.
No, they
Yeah.
won't.
And yeah, and it is a lot like you remember it. It in fact it hasn't changed much. You know that the girls always vacate and go home for Christmas in the last week of November. So whoever occupies the room now cleared it out a week ago, and now they're gone
Hmm.
until the new year. And yeah, and well, Dottie's room is, I mean, they're not all the same size anyway, but yours is actually, of the two of them, it's the smaller one. But as you think, it's also probably the cozier one, because Dottie's one is very high, and it has quite tall windows, whereas yours is like those smaller windows. Um, and the whole room is kind of, yeah, you wouldn't have wood beams because it's a stone building, but it's a really lovely one, whereas hers is a lot more impersonal. Maybe it's because you don't have as such nice memories, because it was the room that was used to be occupied by Melinda Stonebrook.
Well, at least she's not occupying the room next or across the room
Across Sorry, she's
anymore.
across the hall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
goodness. That is a good sign. Hopefully, she's not showing up.
Well, Melinda Stockbrook was prefect because she was interesting for the teachers, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm. Snitch.
She was a snitch. Indeed, she was a snitch. Yes, so if you did spend any time in there, it was never because it was never for fun reasons, but she was telling you off, and then telling on you. So yeah, we'll have to find a picture for Melinda. I've got an image in my head.
Do that
And
because I don't really have an image on how she's looking. I more have a character and how she
yeah,
is in mind.
and and then, and then Dottie says, "Well, I will unpack, and what are your plans for today?" Because when she looks outside, I think we could go for a walk. It looks nice, and it's actually lovely. It's the snow has stopped, so it's now just covered in snow. But it looks like it's going to be a lovely day.
I will take you on a tour to places that are really nice and maybe have a look if the stables still
Hmm.
there and how it looks there. So,
There are still cigarette butts from when you were there.
well, probably not anymore, but maybe I will add a few.
Yeah,
Or there are new ones from current students. That would be
yeah.
fun.
Who knows? Okay.
I will
So,
also unpack and then we will meet a few minutes before we have to be downstairs for breakfast, I guess.
and she looks at you and she says, "But we will go in together, right? I will not be going on my own."
No, no, I will take you with
Good.
me. The question is if you're uncomfortable. You are free to go to do breakfast with the servants if you like. I don't want to push you into this situation.
What is your luck?
18.
Yeah, you're unlucky. She actually does feel very uncomfortable, but she will not tell you.
Okay, so I have no way to read her.
Yeah, well, she won't tell you, but
Yeah,
you can read her.
yeah. Okay, Tati, let's make it a deal. You do breakfast with the servant at least for today. Maybe you can get some gossip about who's there and what they are doing. Probably better honest gossip than I will get. And then we will meet up later and just compare what kind of information we got. You'll be my spy.
Deal.
Good.
Good.
Then let's
So,
still go downstairs
mhm,
together for
yeah,
breakfast. I can show you where the servants
that would
will
be
be.
that would be good, because yeah, it's a big, and she looks around. It's a big house. I mean, this house is much bigger than your parents' house, so
I spent
much
too
much bigger.
much time. I know exactly around which corner what is,
Mhm.
especially since they didn't change much. So
Yeah.
we will unpack, and while I unpack, I will just open the windows, probably also hanging out of the window a bit and just checking if the wisteria is still working just as fine as it did in my time here.
So you grab it and you give it
Mm-hmm.
a pull, and it is absolutely solid. You think it's now fused with the wall even more than it was when you were there. Climbing down would not be a problem, not even in winter. Yeah.
Dear old wisteria. Thank you for all the service, and it looks like you're doing a very good service for the pupils now. So
Maybe, who knows? And well, you unpack, and then
I will
I don't know,
change
20
also
minutes later, yeah.
clothing just to get out of the travel clothes, and then
Yes.
I will meet up with Dottie and we will go downstairs.
Yeah. Dottie is wearing a very nice dark dress. This time she's decided not to go for the brown, but it's more like a dark gray color, which looks really good. Very understated, but it makes it absolutely clear not a servant.
Perfect.
Yeah. And the two of you go downstairs. You show her where the kitchen is. She knocks on the door, and you hear the voice of Matilda Gordon, a voice that you will never forget because she is Scottish. She is the cook. She was there when you were there, and even then she was the senior cook. And she says, "Come." And Dottie opens the door and says, "Oh dearie me, you must be the child from New York." And I can't do a Scottish accent, I just realised that. And she basically says, "Yes, my name's Dottie Williams." "Well, I'm Miss Gordon. Do come in." And basically you can see that she's physically pulled into the kitchen. You will probably never see her again. And somebody closes the door behind her. And you are on your own.
Either Dottie will never show up again, or she will be the best friend with her because they will exchange recipes within minutes. Either way,
Probably.
I guess with Dottie it's the recipe way.
Yeah.
She will be fine, and I will turn around and go to the room where usually breakfast was, and now breakfast will be as well.
It's a huge room. It's got a table that will seat. It's got 3 tables that will seat 100 and plus people. So it's huge. It's also the ballroom. So when there is a ball, the tables get pushed to this side where you can have your buffet and everything put up, and then there is a huge space where you can have balls if you were to invite men, which did sometimes happen, but that was and the parents had to be there and everything. So yeah,
it was just for trainers for proper dancing.
Yes,
mainly,
indeed.
That we know how to handle these situations under control.
Yeah, and to be nice and to be seen but not heard. That's the main tenet. To be seen but not heard. As you walk in, Sarah Brightwood is of course there, as is Miss Bolton. You remember her because she's the English and history teacher. She was very young then. She was just starting out. And you can also see Miss Littlewood, the matron. She was the matron when you were there. She's now almost 60. She is very strict, but you really liked her. And she has a secret vice. She smokes cigars.
Yes.
And not really rarely either. So she lived upstairs on the 3rd floor, close to where the door to the attic is, because that's also where, where you would store things. And she would also be kind of like the on-site nurse, as it were. So she would have your iodide when you hurt your knee or when your tooth fell out, and so everything is stored up there next to where she lives. And she actually has 2 rooms to herself, and it always smelled of cigars for some reason. Yeah. And do you think she would recognize you?
I was enough of a troublemaker that probably, yes.
All right. Why, if it isn't the young Miss Baker, Alice, how are you doing? And she gets up. She is not very tall, but she is quite wide. So she's compact. She isn't fat, but she's compact. She's somebody who probably you had those stories that possibly she served somewhere in a war or other. There are stories that she lost her true love in the First World War, and she never was the same afterwards. She never got married, blah blah blah. So the stories that you would have been telling about her would have been quite intimate, but also very respectful. So in terms of she was really well liked, except maybe by Melinda, but who cares what Melinda thinks? And she comes to you and she gives you a bear hug.
I will hug her back. Miss Littlewood, you look wonderful.
Oh,
you haven't changed a bit.
Well, Alice, either that means that even when you knew me, I looked like I was almost 60, which is probably true,
You,
or you're just such a bad liar and you haven't really improved, my dear. And she does this.
you still look like fresh 40.
Oh, that's so lovely of you. Well, I was kind of not sure if you were going to make it, but when I was told that you were coming, I was really looking forward to you. I was really looking forward to meeting you. And if you join me later, I'll have something for you upstairs. But you look, and she basically holds you at arm's length, like by both shoulders, and she's like, and she says, "You're too scrawny. Who's your cook?"
Oh, please don't tell that to her. She's trying to force feed me the day she walked into my door.
She's not been very successful. She must be a terrible cook.
She's the best cook that I've ever met. Not to be mean, I know. Wait. Who was the cook? Who was the
Gordon,
cook?
Matilda Gordon.
Where do I have it on the list? There's Matilda Gordon, just up there. Miss Gordon is a really good cook, but my Dottie is the best cook ever. I just, in the city, people try to look and to fit into certain clothing, so I'm going with that.
That's all vanity. That's all vanity. She's a Puritan.
Mhm.
So let's see if she actually notices your gait. With a 90, she hasn't noticed that you're slightly limping.
That is good.
Are
Also,
you carrying your cane?
I'm carrying my cane, but at least at the moment I'm wearing a skirt that is quite long because honestly
Oh,
it's
you're
winter.
wearing a skirt.
I'm wearing
Whoa.
a skirt and looking halfway very conservative usually for her. She has other clothing with her, but she decided for the first meetup, let's play the part and let's see how this goes.
Okay, so you will, for any social checks for the next hour or so, you will be getting a bonus die because you're actually not trying to scandalize anyone.
I'm not scandalizing at the moment. It will happen,
Okay.
but not for the
It'll
first
happen.
meeting. I just want to test the water and see who's still there and not be the one screaming, "Here I am, and I'm different now."
And there is also one more person, and you can now give me a spot hidden to see, do you recognize her? She's definitely younger than everybody else. She's a former pupil.
Okay, spot hidden. That was 100.
You have no idea who this is.
I
There's
have
a
no
young
idea.
woman sitting there. She's your age, but you can't place her at all. And Miss Littlewood, and the name is actually completely ridiculous considering what she looks like, says, "Well then, come and sit down. And there is food, and I want you to eat food because breakfast is the most important meal of the day."
I know. I heard that for the last years every morning.
Very good, very good. Whoever has been telling you this has a plus in my book. So, why don't you sit down next to little Irene? You may remember her. She was she was at school with you as well. She may have been 1 year below you. Irene, this is Alice Baker.
Irene, nice to see you again. I'll just hold out the hand. My head is still rummaging through the name.
She shakes your hand. She is make a God. Do we have something social? Yeah, you first of all you get a bonus die anyway. Make a psychology roll.
Barely made it, yes.
Okay. So so first of all, a little description. She has long blonde hair. Which she just basically pulled together behind her back. So it's not like she's got a braid or anything, it's just straight and straight down. She's got very blue eyes. And she has a very earnest face. you can't really place it. You do vaguely remember somebody who looked like this.
But she was not in my circle of really
Mm-mm.
hanging out, I
No,
guess.
no. She looks. It's hard to say if it's too much to your liking or too little for, or how you. She looks very earnest. She looks very serious.
Okay.
And she says, "It's nice to see you again."
Weird to be back, right?
Yes, indeed, it's very weird to be back. Yeah.
Miss Littlewood, I never asked. You know who else will join us over the next days? I'm
Oh
curious
yes,
who
yes,
else will
yes, my
come.
dear. We've got a couple more coming. Well, I suppose you remember Penny, don't you?
Yes.
She's coming.
Yes.
Yeah, and then of course Melinda is coming as well.
Melinda's coming as well. That will be interesting.
And now you can do a spot hidden.
Yep.
At the mention of Melinda, you see that Irene's fists clench.
Mm-hmm.
And of course Christine Samuels. Well, she used to be Kinsey, but she's married now. Christine Samuels, she is now. She's coming, and she's already told us that her elder daughter will actually join us in 5 years. So she's already put down her name on the list. Would you believe it? Well, and Sarah Marie Burley. She used to be Summers. She was 2 years below you.
Yeah, but I remember her vaguely. And
Yeah.
Christine will
So
be there. That is nice. And
they will be arriving today and tomorrow.
well, it's the best choice to put your child here, right?
And of course, Miss Littlewood smiles, and then Irene, she just basically sits there, and you can see that if you eat little, she eats less, because she's basically just crumbling up her foods that it looks like she's actually consuming it. She's not eating, and she's stirring her coffee, and she does drink her coffee though. Yeah.
I will just sit down. I will eat something.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the small amounts as I always eat. It's not disrespectful, it's just what I do. I will drink coffee, which is probably not as good as it should be, but okay-ish.
Yeah, Dottie didn't make it, so yeah.
Exactly.
Make of that what you will. Yeah.
That is not the right thing, but yeah. So Irene, how is life treating you after school?
Make a spot hidden and use a or psychology and use a
Oh, that is psychology.
and don't forget you get a bonus.
Yeah, with a bonus die. It's a hard success.
She starts and she says, I don't think I should complain.
Good.
I hope the same goes for you.
Absolutely. Life has treated me badly, but very well at the same time, so I can't complain.
Oh, that's an interesting turn of phrase.
I'll just pick up the cane. See, not everything is going perfectly, but generally life is good.
You've been physically hurt.
Well, life happens, yes.
Yeah, life happens, doesn't it?
It does.
So are you trying to make conversation with her?
She's the only pupil. I'm not
yeah.
sure. Did Miss Littlewood? Did she sit with us at the table?
Miss Littlewood sits where all the
I was
teachers
afraid
sit,
so.
at the
So
head of the table.
I have only Irene with me.
Yeah.
Poor Irene will have to do some small talk. I will change to lighter things like, isn't the weather lovely? And the place looks just as always. As if nothing changed.
And when you start talking about the school, she does kind of lighten up. And she says, yes, I arrived yesterday and I spent the evening in the music room. Now you can make an idea roll now
Hmm.
if you remember who she is.
With the music room thing, let's
Hmm.
see. Oh, yes, that is a critical success.
Okay, so you do remember that there was one girl who was an excellent pianist, and she spent every single hour almost that she wasn't at school in class, she would be in the music room. She would be practicing. They even brought in a private teacher that would come to the school once a week from Bangor. Um, and she was a very promising musician, very promising. There was talk of her going to the conservatory and stuff like that.
Is the
But she
old.
was also kind of more the quiet type
Hmm.
because she also composed, you know that. So you would sometimes see her sitting down with sheets of
See.
music and actually just writing down music. Yeah,
Is the old piano still there?
it is. It needs tuning, but I worked on it, so it sounds a lot better now. I don't know if they're actually keeping it in tune. It doesn't sound like it. Maybe they're not using it as much.
Well, maybe there is no pupil at the moment who's promising to play the piano. If they have just people like me, the piano is totally useless.
She smiles at you.
I can swing the paintbrush, but with
Oh,
music
you paint?
instruments, I am.
Oh, you paint?
I started here. I had a lot of time for painting, being stuck in my room because detention.
Let's see if she remembers.
If that's the question.
Oh, 93. No, she doesn't remember the bad stuff about
That
you.
is. Maybe we'll go back to her later.
Yeah. Yes, well, I do remember you, of course, but
We didn't have much in common in school time. Changed would
no, I
change
suppose we
now
didn't.
because now I enjoy music dearly. And during that time, music was not an important part of my life.
I see.
Well,
So what has changed?
life changed, and I met a lot of people that love music and brought me to music. So
So what kind of music do you like?
jazz is my big love.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
Classical music is nice to listen to as well. If I have the chance to go to the opera or to some concerts, I always enjoy it, but jazz is life.
oh,
Oh,
you are in luck. She rolled a 3. She's a jazz musician too.
yes. Could have gone really
Well,
badly.
if you like, later on maybe, because I'll be going back to practicing after this. I do play some jazz, so maybe this evening before dinner I can play for you half an hour or so.
Oh, I would love that. And honestly, my assistant would love that as well if it's fine. I'll ask Dottie if she
Your
wants to join.
assistant?
Yes. They can't handle the word assistant. They are treating her like a servant. Poor Dottie, but my assistant.
I see. So she is in the kitchen.
Yes. Probably exchanging by now recipes with the cook.
Oh, she cooks as well.
Yes. So some people would point her as servant, but she's much more than that. Yes, she cooks. Yes, she keeps the household together. But she's my assistant as well.
Yes, well, I don't have one of those. I don't have a servant either. Well, let's. Sybil couldn't make it. Well then, I actually have a couple of things that I wanted to do. So, if you will excuse me,
Yes, sure.
and she reaches her hand out to you and says, "Well, then,
We will meet later in the
yes,
music room. Looking forward
6
to it.
o'clock.
Perfect. I'll be there.
Good. I'll see you then." And she walks out, and you notice now that she's standing up that she's actually not very tall.
Mm-hmm.
She's very slender. She's quite small. Not overly small in terms of she's just not as tall as you are.
The cliche grey mouse, as we say, at least in German. I'm not sure how
Yeah,
you tell
yeah,
it.
she is. It's more like probably you would say that you could imagine that if she's a musician and she actually goes out on stage, she will be be perceived quite differently. This could be her private persona that you
Hmm.
just met. Yeah, but she's nothing to look at. But she is dressed tastefully, so it's like it shows some money, but it's definitely not tailor made. But it's also not cheap either. And of course, if she went to this school, her parents did have money, or she had a trust fund or something. Yeah. And then you can see suddenly the door opens and Miss Brightwood comes in and she says, "Oh, Miss Littlewood, would you have a moment? Mademoiselle Martin, she slipped. I think she may have, I don't know, sprained her ankle or something. Can you just give me a hand? I think she needs looking after." And Miss Littlewood just gets up, leaves everything, and she says, and there is also somebody standing near the door that leads to the kitchen. Says, "You don't need to move away my plate because I'll come back and finish those eggs on toast later. I'll just look after the French teacher." And she runs out. And the way she said French teacher, you think that this may be an accident prone person who tends to fall over and do things. And the two of them leave you alone, and there's only the maid standing there.
I will finish my coffee. We'll put it down. We'll be just like pointing to the maid. Could you tell the kitchen that it was a lovely breakfast? Thank you so much.
Yes, miss.
And I will stand up, put everything together, and she will be just like, do they expect me to bring the stuff in the kitchen or not?
No.
Because in school we definitely had
You
to.
did in school, yes.
So
Yeah.
so I'm tempted. I'm already have everything in my hand.
She actually rushes towards you and says, "Miss, I'll take this. Let me take this." And she
I will
touches the
I will
plate and
hand it
tries to.
over. I'm just like, old habits never die, as it seems in this room.
Oh, yes, yes, miss, yes. And she walks away
I'll,
quickly.
I will turn around and leave.
Yeah.
And then I will go towards the kitchen from the other side,
Yeah.
where I basically let Dottie go.
Mm-hmm.
Tempted to knock, and then I decide, no. I will go upstairs into my room and probably knock at Dottie's door and see if she's already back. If not, I will just leave my door open and just sit in my room, feet up, probably sitting on the bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so Dottie, if she's in, she doesn't answer, which is not like her, so you guess she's not there. So about half an hour later, you hear steps. You can hear it's Dottie because you know her gait. And you can see her walk past, and she sees that the door is open, and she sticks her head and she says, "So how was breakfast? Because mine was interesting."
Mine was not really interesting, but well, I know that some of the teachers are there. I learned that my old French teacher, Miss Martin, had an accident just a few minutes ago. She slipped.
Oh
and
my God, is she
fell.
okay?
She's okay. It's just a sprained ankle. Miss Littlewood will take care of her.
Oh dear.
And there's just one other student, former student here, and I don't really know her too well because we never hung out. She was a musician. That was not my kind of people. But, well, she loves jazz. So we will meet up at 6 in the music room and she will play a bit. So if you want to join, feel free to.
If I'm not intruding.
No, I don't think Irene would mind. At least I didn't have the impression that it mattered to her. And if she's still a musician, I didn't feel right to ask. She was a bit hesitant to talk about private stuff. Then we might hear really nice music. She was good in school. She was excellent even in piano. So
that's perfect. All right.
The only thing that I learned is who else will come. Good and bad news, as it seems.
Oh.
My best friend from school, Penny, will be there. That will be interesting. I haven't seen her. Well, we met 1 or 2 times after school, and then, well, just life happened. And Melinda is there. The girl that lived in the room you have at the moment.
The prefect.
The snitch. that would be interesting to see how she changed. Or not, I highly doubt she changed. So when she
Miss
arrives, I will
Alice.
definitely make sure to wear something less conservative than this.
Miss Alice.
Things never change. So,
No, things never change.
come on, tell me.
Okay.
I will tap the next to my bed. We'll make some
Yeah,
space.
she sits
Tell
down
me.
next to you. So, um, Price has a wife and daughter.
Good for him. He was always a
Yes.
good-looking one.
Yeah. And talk is that there was. She has closed the door.
Yeah.
So, the current governess,
Mhm.
she's not as popular as she may think she is. At least not with them downstairs.
Well, the way she's treating people, I can't imagine why.
And it seems like there was a little bit of a feud between her and the French teacher. They both wanted to become governesses, and she won out. So the two of them don't really get on either.
Poor Miss Martin. Interesting to know.
Um, yeah, it seems like your former science teacher left, so the new one you wouldn't know. Her name is Miss Phillips. So, well, she told me a little bit about the people at school, and Miss Phillips has been here for 5 years, so I assume
No.
you would not have known her. Um, and it seems like they have money problems.
Well, that explains why we have to be here, because I'm quite sure they expect us to write a check before we leave.
Probably. But
And you see, they are keeping the house together, but it's not modernized at all. It looks exactly like during my time. Exactly.
mm-hmm.
What?
I like the cook.
She makes good food.
Well, I can imagine. We exchanged a couple of recipes.
I was expecting that.
I know the full menu for the gala dinner, but I'm not telling you.
The only thing I know, if you would have done it, it would be probably much better, but it would
I'm
be
not
good.
so sure about
It will
this,
be good. She
but I'm
was
looking
always a
forward to
good
it.
cook.
She's got a couple of things that she was telling me about this sauce that she makes using sherry and elderberry and well, elderberry cordial and cranberries, and she's going to show me how she's making this on the day. So I'm really looking forward to this, because that's a combination that I've never seen before and I've never tasted before, but she's describing it as like it's going to be fantastic, and I really want to know how she does it. So about, I would say, an hour before the gala dinner, I'll have to be downstairs to watch her make that sauce, just so that you know.
Maybe put in some tips about how to make good coffee. The coffee.
You noticed too, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I have drank worse coffee in my life, to be honest, but there is room for improvement.
I will try and,
I will probably. I'm tempted to move to tea, to be honest, because the tea is probably much better than the coffee.
Well, the point is you can't really make many mistakes with tea. Tea is
Oh,
a beginner's drink.
yes. So, well, we will see. What do you think about getting some warm clothes on and go outside and have a
I
look around
I
the
would
building?
love to.
Okay, then meet you outside in
Make
a few minutes.
make a psychology roll, but this time you don't get a
All good. It's still a critical success.
Wow.
I rolled a 5. I
There is
know
something
her.
going on with her. She is so mischievous when you mention changing. So she says, "I'll pick you up."
Okay.
She goes outside, closes the door. You hear her opening the door on the other side.
I will just put on boots again that are comfy and warm, taking out a big scarf and my winter coat and getting ready.
Mhm. She knocks on your door.
I will just open it.
Ready to go. She's wearing her green coat.
Mhm.
Now you can make a spot hidden.
That is a critical success.
Dottie is wearing trousers.
Alice will. She's tempted to say. She would probably look a minute at Dottie, just like scanning her up and down, and be like, "That's a perfect outfit."
Oh, how diplomatic. Well, because the thing is, the coat that you gave her is quite long.
Yeah, so you just see it a little bit.
Yeah, and it could also be a skirt. So, but you notice it's
Mhm.
trousers, and she also got herself a pair of boots. You know how back then they had those boots that would lace up almost to the knee.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of boot. So basically the trousers have kind of like an untapered leg, so it goes over the boot.
Mhm.
So even then you can't really tell what she is wearing, but you notice that it's new boots, leather, outdoorsy, and
Mhm.
she's wearing trousers. So on you, Dottie, but she's given this some thought because of the coat. So unless you really look, you wouldn't necessarily notice at first.
But I will compliment her definitely. The boots look lovely. That was a good idea.
She looks down
Perfect
and she
fit.
looks at you and she says, "Thank you."
Come on, let's see how it looks in the back.
So you go downstairs. Now there are
Yes.
different ways you can leave the house, obviously, because it's so big. You can either go outside the main entrance and then walk around.
Mhm.
You can go, there are 3 or 4 doors, 2 over wing exits, as it were. So basically wherever you want to go, there are 4 or 5 exits that would take you behind the house, next to the house, in front of the house.
I think I will go the main entrance or exit to make really a full circle from there. So going through the main entrance that Dottie also knows. Also, this way she can keep directions more easily, probably as well, because she knows the starting point. And then I will turn probably left way.
Okay, so you step outside, you turn left, and you walk around. As you turn left, you actually then pass the conservatory,
Mhm.
and then you see the large garden where they have, like, all kinds of flower beds, which of course in winter are covered. But they've basically pushed back the forest, so the forest isn't anywhere near there. And you have like a huge garden. I don't know, maybe what's huge, 700 square meters. I mean, it's really big.
That's big. Okay.
And or maybe even more than that. And then you see the tree line, but the tree line, and you explain this to Dottie, these trees still form part of the estate, and if you keep going, after about maybe 20 minutes or so, you reach the actual wall. So this is a walled in estate, and you know that if you keep going to your left, you will follow a path which will then lead through the tree line, and behind there are the stables. There's also a gate in the wall which will lead you to the trail, which would take you around Indian Pond. And the trail takes about 5 days as you walk, or and basically there is the stables. There's also the hut where they keep the cross-country skis, which you would take out in winter to just go skiing.
I will point out also a few points, like here in summer is a nice place where we always studied, and just
There's
pointing a
also a
few things
fountain, of
out.
course.
The fountain. And I would also have a look around to get the feeling on in which kind of state the building really is.
There's something like architecture or something,
I think I have.
because I think you had something like that, didn't you? Blah blah blah.
Well,
What would
ecology
fit? You
is
could
not
use science maybe,
fitting.
or um, possibly even archaeology or something like that.
Well, archaeology I have. No, yes, I have. I have archaeology, not much, but I have a bit in that.
Yeah, just give us a roll.
I think that would work. If not, well, history is not really helpful. I have the same value there as well. So let's do archaeology, and I can't believe it. I have a 6 in archaeology, and I rolled a.
Keep ticking those.
I rolled a 3, which is a hard success.
Wow. Keep ticking those, because
What
that's
is
brilliant.
happening with these dice? I'm scared of when I need them, they will mess up.
Cthulhu appears.
Yes. 100 again.
So, yeah. You can tell now at the back, the colors, the paint is kind of worn. It doesn't flake off. It's not that bad yet, but it hasn't been painted. So you know how when the sun keeps beating down, it
Mm-hmm.
kind of gets bleached. Yeah, investment is required.
Okay.
And when you look at the when you look at the fountain, you can tell that at the base of the fountain, something has chipped away, and they would have had to replace the stucco or something, and they haven't done it. It's noticeable if you look,
Mm-hmm.
but if you just give it a cursory glance in winter, you know,
So they're trying to keep the appearance that if you
yeah,
don't look too close, it looks fine. But
yeah, yeah.
oh, they really need money. There's quite a few things to fix here.
Wow. And this is where you spend 10 years of your life. Well,
Yes. Well, a lot of time in obviously in the study in the classrooms. I spent probably too much time in my room on detention. I spend a lot of time. I'm not sure if we would be able to see my room from here. Probably we would, right?
yeah, because it's at the back of the house and you could point it out, yes.
So you see the wisteria there? The room there is mine. So I spend probably too much time climbing up and down this wisteria.
Miss Alice.
Well, it's looks steady and stir at the moment. So
But
whoever
why would
got
you
that
climb out the
room,
window?
well, to have free time and not being stuck inside. You know, the smoking part, that was not an easy way to achieve through the front door.
Miss Alice.
Penny and I had a lot of fun climbing up and down that thing. The only thing we had to learn, be very quiet so Melinda couldn't catch us.
Well, you really were a handful, weren't you?
I was, but
Did your mother know?
yes, they got a lot of letters.
She probably framed every single one of them.
Yes, the bad thing for her was that I still was good in school, so she could be angry, but not angry enough because my grades were good. That's the secret weapon to survive this. But yeah, we spent a lot of time, especially in the gardens in summer. There were a lot of places you could hide.
So you hid. Not only did you try and run, you hid.
Well, we hid to smoke, to listen to music we shouldn't be listening to drink. All the things you have to learn and experience in the young years.
Yes, Miss Alice. Yeah. And they made you the woman that you are today.
Yes, they did.
So let's go to those stables that you've been telling me about.
I am really curious how they are in place, and also maybe not today, but we can see the weather's good. At least have a walk towards the pond. Let's see. I'm not sure
I'd like that.
because it's pretty out there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we will walk to the
Okay.
stables. I will hook her under my arm and
Yeah.
then yeah, carefully approach the stables. Just
Mm-hmm.
also having eyes and ears open because Alice is curious if there are still horses there.
And you approach the stables and you can smell horses already. So
They capture
yeah,
that.
the stables themselves are in quite good condition, and you can open them, and there is like, I don't know. Let's see how many horses they've got. They've got about 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the horses are in very good shape.
Okay.
You can tell that somebody really looks after them. They're really well groomed. Their fur is nice and shiny. Their eyes are bright. And the stables are also very clean. And you can see that there is the tack, and the tack is well taken care of. There are saddles. They are oiled and greased, and the leather has been taken care of. And you can also see that people are riding them because there are riding boots, kind of, and you can see that there is names sewn into them so that everybody knows whose they are. And of course, on the actual are they called boxes in English as well, or is that German?
I'm not sure. Say the boxes.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they actually have the names of the horses
horses.
on them, so that people know who they are talking to when they are talking to the horses. And the horses are feeding, and they look up as you approach, and they look at you and kind of do horse things like,
I will grab a bit of hay maybe, or
"Mhm."
if I can spot some kind of carrots or sugar
There
cubes
is
or
a
whatever I
bag.
can find.
There is a bag of goodies, yes, of horse
Then
treats.
I'll get some horse treats and just
Hmm.
take a walk
Hmm.
next to the horses. Just
Hmm.
give everyone a little bit, just like
Hmm.
also giving them a bit of is it stroking? No, it's not.
Yeah, you can.
Stroke? Probably,
Yeah, or pet
maybe.
them. Hmm.
And I'll be just like, Dottie, do you know how to ride? Have you ever
I have
sat
to
on a
check.
horse?
Riding isn't that a skill actually?
I think it is.
Yeah, she has the basic skill of five. But
Alice as well, although I quite imagine she has been on a horse before.
well, I suppose that I mean,
It's a basic skill. We are not
it's a
really
basic
good.
skill, so
Yeah.
you would be able to ride. I mean, if you don't start doing cross country racing or
Yeah.
something, you should be fine.
Maybe we should try to use the time also to see if we can make a ride at least for one day. I've sat on a horse for ages.
It's a good thing I bought trousers, isn't it?
Yes, very helpful. Also, not Alice, that's me. Then, yeah, I will ask this evening if we're allowed to take the horse maybe for a ride. That
That's
might be fun.
I'd love that. Yes.
Okay, but here everything looks bit spot on, so the horses are still in very good shape and well taken care of.
Hmm. So the horse that you're standing in front of is called Geraldine, as you can tell by her nameplate.
Hmm?
And she's light brown, and she's got this like
White.
white part on the nose, and yeah, and she's very kind of like friendly, and yep.
I'll give her a little scruff.
Mhm.
Maybe we will take you for a ride tomorrow. And then, just looking, we haven't been out that long. Let's
No,
take a
no, no,
bit of a
it's
walk towards the
yeah.
pond.
So you basically round the stables, and
Mm-hmm.
there is kind of like this. There is like a tree next to the stable. So somebody has cut back some of the branches so that they don't press down on the roof. But that would be a perfect shelter if you wanted to smoke. Nobody's seeing you, and it would also not be windy or cold or too cold.
I will probably make a stop there
Hmm.
and be just like a bit like looking around. Well, climbing up is more difficult now than it was during my time, but here's the best space to hide and be on your own.
You climb the tree
Well, obviously.
to be on the roof of the stable.
That's a nice place to just enjoy the sun without being bothered by anyone.
She kind of looks and walks a couple of steps to the left and right, and she says, "Yeah, you're right. If you were to lie down there and flat on the roof, nobody could see you."
Yep. And here downstairs also a lot of people, at least in most of the seasons. You can hide quite well and just enjoy a smoke.
It's a good thing you don't have to hide anymore, is it?
That is definitely a good. That is. I will just pull out a cigarette from my pocket, and we'll just turn or light the cigarette, and we'll take a relaxed smoke, just standing there in the open next to the tree.
Parading through the garden. No,
But
not quite.
just enjoying
Yeah,
it a bit. Like, you're right. I don't have to hide anymore. I can just smoke now.
and you can also drink.
Still hesitant if someone will murder me with the, just looking at me doing that, but
She looks around. She says, "I can't see Melinda anywhere, so you're safe for the moment."
well, Melinda I wouldn't care about. I'm more worried about Miss Brightwood.
Well, if you are correct, then she wants your money. She will not do anything
That is true. That
to
is
enrage
true.
you. And I think she's already kind of caught on to the fact that her attitude towards servants didn't go down too well with you.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
She did step inside the kitchen. She ignored everyone except the cook.
Well, she knows better than to be evil against the cook because she can poison you with one bite.
Isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
And so she points to this gate that's like a cast iron gate in the wall. And she says, "So that's where the trail leads to the pond."
Yes. Let's take a bit of a walk. It's too much to circle the pond because it's quite large, but at least maybe we can reach the border. Let's see.
Okay, so you basically walk through the gate. The gate is a little bit rusty, you notice, so maybe people aren't using it as often, or maybe it's because it's not been maintained very well. And you walk through it, you close it behind you, and there is so basically now you are really in the woods because there's woods to the left and right of you, and it's more like a small path. It's also it's also the path that you would take on horseback, so you can also see that. Well, oh look, somebody has taken one of the horses out because you can see that there is hoof prints there, which must be can't be that old because it was snowing earlier. So if it wasn't snowing too heavy, these would be from yesterday. And they lead towards the and also come back. So there are two sets of hoof prints, one going away, one coming back. And you know that it's about 10-15 minutes, maybe 20, to get to the lake.
That's perfect. Alice will just have a mind to be back before sun is setting, and it should
Oh,
set
it's
quite
still
early.
early. It's kind of like 10,
Yeah.
11 at the latest, because you arrived really early, then you had breakfast at 8.
We didn't
9
get any information about lunch, did we?
No, you didn't. But Dottie can tell you.
Dottie, just to be sure that we are not missing an action, no one told me something about lunch. Did you hear anything in the kitchen?
Well, apparently lunch is going to be served in your room and it will keep. I don't know what they're cooking up. Well, they're obviously not cooking because it wouldn't go cold.
Yeah.
It would go cold otherwise. I assume it's going to be sandwiches.
I guess so. But at least then we don't have to pressure on to be back at 12 o'clock sharp or something.
Well, and she pulls out a package. I got this from Miss Gordon.
You are an angel. That will make life much easier, and we can have a snack at the pond somewhere.
And she throws you an apple.
I will grab the apple and we'll take a bite.
So let's go.
Yeah.
And she's actually quite happy to be out, and yeah, she's taken to nature since she came back from Simmons Strand, this whole seaside thing, and now it's Maine. So yeah, she's enjoying herself. The weather is impeccable. The sun's coming is shining down, and the trees. It's mainly coniferous trees, so ash trees and that kind of thing. So it's always green. And after about 20 minutes, you can see that the path is widening, and you can already see the lake in the distance. It's called Indian Pond, but it's really not a pond. It's a real lake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably not its real name, but you know that this used to be inhabited by Native Americans.
Yeah.
But of course, then we came and everybody had to leave. And it is actually the people who would have lived here were Algonquin. So that's something you do know because at some point, people came and kind of like took oral history and stuff. So this is known, and you would have read it in the school library, and but you've never met any of them. So if they still live here, you've never seen them anywhere near the school. You don't know if they still live here. And of course the lake is partly frozen only, so it's not completely covered in ice, and you can see ducks, and there is waterfowl, and let's see, no, and yeah, it's and the sun is shining down, so it's kind of reflecting off of the ice and off the water surface, and it's cold, but you're kind of comfy. And it is absolutely quiet. Like you can hear the wind a little bit. You can hear animals and the birds, but it's really peaceful and quiet.
I will share what I know about the lake and also the native people with Dottie, just to give her a little bit of a look at this lesson.
You can now give me a spot hidden. And Dottie as well. Okay.
No, that's a big no.
It's a big no.
It's
Okay.
a big no. I rolled a 89.
Oh dear.
No, 98. I'm lying. 98.
Even worse.
Yeah, even worse. So not a crit fail, but close to it.
Okay. So
I have sun in my eye. I can't see much of.
Yeah, it is actually quite blinding. Let's see how she fared.
I forgot my sunglasses.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Oh, she actually does see something. But she basically shades her eyes and she says, "Are there huts? I think I can see a hut over there."
What?
And she points across.
Do I remember there is a hut?
You do know that there are 5 huts surrounding the lake, and you could actually make it like a 5-day trip. And one is exactly opposite.
Okay.
So across the lake.
Well,
is there a hut?
Yeah, there should be 5 huts spread out around the lake. And one should be in view.
Yeah, you can see 2 now. Now she's pointing. She's pointing towards it. You're shading your eyes. You can see 2. Yeah.
So let's take a bit of a walk. I think around there was a bench at least at my time. So maybe they're still there. We can have maybe sit and eat a sandwich.
You walk. It's another good half an hour, but you're also taking your time, and then you arrive, and then there is a bench. So Dottie basically clears it off snow because there's snow there, and and you can. And she takes out the sandwiches. She hands you one, and she looks at the lake, and she says, "That's peaceful."
It is, right? That is the thing we definitely are missing in New York. Just a nice, calm place to just be.
Yeah, that is true.
I have to say, as a student, I did not enjoy this as much as I do now.
Yeah, I think some things come with age.
It might be.
But your memories of school are generally good, aren't they?
Yes. Not everything was fun, and honestly, a few things we got taught, I was just like, oh God, no. Still as today. Well, it's quite annoying that there was no way to meet guys or boys during that time. And, well, there were a lot of lessons about how we should behave and what we should do and not do, that my mother obviously would have still approved to this day, but that's a bit outdated. But generally I had a good time, yes. I learned a lot. Good and bad.
But at least you learned a lot.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes time to be able to distinguish between the good and the bad.
And in retrospective, I think it was good that I was here far away from Mother, because I don't know how it would have went when I would have been stuck at home.
Well, you would probably have ended up murdering each other.
Yeah, I think so. Also this way I learned much more, because I could decide a bit on what I wanted to learn. So no one stopped me when I wanted to put extra hours to learn about chemistry or biology or any science thing or math or whatever. As long as it was study, they supported it.
So you didn't spend as much time in the finishing part of the school?
No.
No.
Well, I learned to dance. That was fun.
And I'm pretty sure if they saw you dancing today, they would all be scandalized.
Yes.
What with your jazz?
Yeah, probably. Not everyone could really imagine Miss Littlewood enjoying it in secret.
Miss Littlewood.
She's amazing. She still is, as it seems.
Yeah.
Oh, remind me, I have a little package for her. I
Oh, you
could
do?
not forget that. I was hoping she was still there, so just on blind guess, I packed the little package for her.
That is very thoughtful of you.
But I need to make sure to give it to her in private, so
All right. I see.
I quite guess the governess will not approve.
It's not alcohol, is it?
No,
Good. Very
worse.
good. Worse.
In some eyes, I quite think yes. She likes to smoke cigars. She
She
always
does
has.
not.
She does.
Oh my.
We,
I can't imagine Miss Brightwood approving
me
of
neither.
that.
Me neither. And honestly, I probably still have to give her one or two cigars back because we stole one from her to try it. And the answer is cigar was not a thing we enjoyed.
Back then.
Yes.
So now you smoke with your father.
Well, by now I really enjoy it because I know how to. But as a young girl, cigars were a bit much to handle.
Maybe, maybe.
Well, but Penny and I and two others, we at least wanted to give it a try because well, it's the cool thing to do. And we knew she was smoking.
And I'm pretty sure that she had counted them because you know how this works. And when one went missing, I'm pretty sure she knew who had taken it.
Yes, but at least I could practice picking locks to get to the cigars. So
You did not pick her locks, did you?
I certainly did not break the door.
Well, I thought you waited until she walked out and then.
She was careful enough to put stuff away.
Well, obviously, with someone like you around, she had better be careful.
She's still talking to me. She still enjoyed seeing me. So it couldn't have been that bad. And honestly, the detention for being caught was enormous.
Oh, they got you.
They got us. And that was definitely worth a letter to my mother.
I think it was probably because your skill at lying is so terrible.
And maybe my father was secretly proud, I'm not sure. But my mother did not approve.
I suppose you didn't need a telephone to hear her scream.
No, I felt her opening the letter and cursing loudly at her daughter. But it was worth it, I have to say. It was really worth it.
Does she know you're here?
Yes, I talked to her.
You talk to your mother.
No, to my mother. No, mother. That did no. I thought you mean Miss Littlewood. No, mother.
You were supposed to ring once a month.
I I called twice, which is a lot. But
It's
I
not once a month.
only talked to father mainly. I just said hello to mother and talked to father, and father doesn't.
Does he know you're here?
We didn't talk about that. We talked about politics and what's happening in the world.
Well, I guess that's good too. So if you get lost in the woods, you will leave it to me again to inform them what's happened. Miss Alice.
I can send a but it's not that urgent. Well, I can send a. They don't have
Yes,
postcards
a
here.
postcard might be good. And
They
I
don't
got
have
one in
postcards
Bangor.
here.
I got one in Bangor.
Why
Fancy
are you
that.
doing this?
Well, because I know you. You're impossible.
I will give them a call after this adventure when we're back home and just tell them that we had a lovely trip here and how the school was.
And I will take this as a promise.
Yes.
Good. Very good. Because, of course, my parents know where I am.
Interesting.
I told them, just in case something went wrong.
We are in
The last time you and I took a holiday, I was half expecting the school to have burnt down or something.
I get where you're going, but we are. The worst thing that can happen is that Miss Brightwood is not happy with us being here and we are asked to leave.
I think I might enjoy that. She was Well,
I hope
I'll
the
leave it up to you to fill in the blanks.
well, I hope the students here are not learning too much from her. She was a good English teacher,
She
but
doesn't teach anymore. She just looks after discipline these days, I'm told.
oh well. I'm quite sure there is a troublemaker out here when I'm not there who is filling my footsteps just well.
Oh my god, a second Alice.
That would be a lovely idea.
It's also scary to think that there may be another one.
Well, no one can be quite like me, but maybe a little bit, maybe even a little bit better.
A little bit better.
Yes.
I mean, somebody who broke into teachers' rooms picking their locks, well, heaven forbid.
Well, that was also the only way to get to alcohol. We couldn't buy. Really, it was hard enough to buy anything because we were not allowed to go to bangers very
Miss
often.
Alice, you were probably a really bad influence on everyone who knew you.
Well, a few people, although they were just as we gave ourselves inspiration in the group. We were creative people.
Inspiration.
Inspiration. It was creativity.
Yes.
I want to
Well
point
then.
out again, my grades were top notch.
Let's walk some more.
Yeah, it's getting cold just sitting here.
It is. So you keep walking, and after a while, you notice that obviously there is animals that have been here. You can see tracks, and now give me a spot hidden.
Ooh. Ooh. 21 is a hard success.
That sounds very good. You can actually notice some blood spatter on the snow.
I will stop and just stare at it. How?
Yeah, she doesn't see it. She only had a normal success.
How much? I will step a bit
Not
closer.
much at all. Just basically, but it stands out because it's red on virgin white.
Well, someone was successful in catching prey.
What? Oh. Oh.
Well, there's a lot of nature out here. There are rabbits here. Maybe a fox got a rabbit.
Well, yes, probably. Oh dear. Well, I suppose that's life.
It is. I will have a look nevertheless because now I'm curious. Do I see like animal prints?
You do see. Okay, make a. That's interesting.
Is it nature?
Make a nature roll, yeah.
Nature world? How it's called?
Natural
here?
world, yeah.
That is a big no.
Good. Okay. Well, you do see prints, but they're kind of a little bit difficult to make out because that's the snow is quite compact, so you can see imprints.
But I'm not sure what it is.
No, it doesn't look like paws, but it could be a bear, maybe big paws. Who knows? But it's not like it's too indistinct. But you can see a trail of blood leading into the woods.
Well, I guess maybe we should turn around in case it's not a fox, but more like a wolf or something bigger.
There are wolves and something bigger.
I'm not sure.
Out here?
Well, we were always warned that it's the wilderness and the woods, so
yeah,
might be.
Maybe. Let's return.
Yeah, let's go back,
and you go back.
We slowly go back.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is still very. I mean, it's now getting kind of like towards 2:00 in the afternoon. But it's still very nice weather, and you go back. You reach the gate. You go through the gate. Close the gate.
And we go then the rest around the building.
And you come as you walk around the rest, you actually come by the Price house where they live. It's a small. It's a real house. It's not a hut. 1 story, and you can see a child outside, and she is she's sitting there in the sun reading a book. You can. It's a child. It's a female child. You can tell it's a girl. Yeah, reading a book.
Oh, the Prices even seem to have little one.
A daughter, you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Just.
shall we say hello, or do you just want to surprise her?
No, I don't want to shock her. I will just wave over and just say, "Hello there."
She looks up. Oh, hi,
What?
Miss.
Alice. My name is Alice.
I'm Catherine Price.
I already met your father. He picked us up at the train station.
Oh, yes, yeah, he was saying he made a very early trip this morning, so that was you.
Yeah,
It's nice to meet you.
I lived in this house for quite a while.
In the school?
Yes.
Oh, yes, well, yeah, so you're here for the reunion.
I am. I was curious to come back. You see? No, from here you wouldn't see my side
No.
of the building. So, it's a lovely day.
Yes, it is,
Sunny
isn't
nice,
it?
isn't it?
Yeah.
What are you reading?
She holds up a book. Let's see. I hope that this book was already out. Let's say it was. She's reading Mark Twain.
I'm quite sure Mark Twain was out there.
Tom Sawyer. I think that was out by then, wasn't it? Like, wasn't that 19th century even?
Very sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Twain, Tom Sawyer. Uh, 1876. So
Okay,
yes,
so
it
she's
was already
reading
Oh, 76 in German, so it must have been out in English even a bit earlier, probably.
Yeah, so she's reading Mark Twain, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
That is an awesome adventure book.
Yeah, I like it too. It's, well, I enjoy it.
Then have fun reading it.
Yes, thank you.
And I will just move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, she would not have been there when you were there. She was probably not even pregnant back then. And so you move on, and then you basically make the full circle,
Yeah.
and you come back through the front door. And let's see.
I will keep my eyes open if by now anyone may be around.
What is your luck again? It's quite low. It's lower than 48.
Much lower. I'm at 16 now because I used points to get a success.
Oh, Alice. It's so lovely to see you, says Melinda as you walk in.
I'm just freezing in place for a second. Melinda!
Ah, how long has it been? It's been too long.
Feels like just yesterday.
And this is?
My assistant, Miss Williams.
Your lady's maid. That's it's nice to make your acquaintance. So how have you been? And will you not join us? We are already in the dining room. Some coffee and biscuits.
Come on, Lottie. Let's join the others. Thank you for the invitation.
She keeps her composure. You enter the dining room.
I'm just curious who's there.
Okay, so it's Miss Littlewood. I mean, she doesn't really seem to have moved since this morning, and she's holding court. There are two other people there. It's not Irene, but it is actually, you can tell it's Penny.
Okay.
You would recognize her instantaneously. And is that Sarah Marie over there? It looks like Sarah Marie. That's probably Sarah Marie.
I will give a high-pitched scream, probably, just excited squeak, and be like, Penny!
Penny looks up and she's like, did you shorten your name to Al? Or were you just Alice all the time?
I think I was Alice all the time.
Okay. She just jumps up and runs towards you, Alice, and she hugs you.
Big hug.
And What did she look like in your mind?
A bit shorter than Alice because Alice is
Mm,
quite tall.
mhm,
Also slim in
mhm,
figure.
mhm,
But I think the complete opposite to Alice. So Alice has dark hair, and I think Penny would have blonde hair, maybe some
mhm,
freckles.
mhm,
And she probably has still long hair, I would guess, maybe at least during the time she had long
mhm.
hair.
Oh, she has it down to her shoulders anyway. Mhm.
And yeah, so you look wonderful, my dear.
As do you, as do. And she whispers, "Trousers, well done."
Well, it's the modern times now.
Still. And she motions with her head, and you can see that, of course, Melinda is wearing a skirt almost down to her ankles. Um, and the other person, Sarah Marie, is also wearing a skirt.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Miss Littlewood actually isn't. She is wearing a weird combination of a man's waistcoat and riding breeches.
Okay. Sure.
Very weird. Very weird.
Well,
Well, I mean, definitely completely out of place, and people like Miss Brightwood would probably have, probably have a daily aneurysm when they look at her.
yeah. Well, Penny, meet my assistant. That is Miss Williams, Dorothy Williams.
Oh, Miss Williams, and she sticks out her hand. How do you do? And Dottie grabs the hand. They shake hands, and she says, "How do you do, Miss?" You
Thompson.
never gave her the last name.
Thompson.
Thornton.
Thompson.
Is it Thompson?
Thompson.
Okay, so I have to change my notes. Thompson. Yeah.
At least you put
and-
that in our notes.
Yeah, then, yeah. So this is the source of truth that you're looking at.
Good.
Anyway, so. How do you do, Miss Thompson? And they shake hands. And she says, "Why, your green coat matches your eyes."
Right?
And she looks at you. "Is that your work?" "It's your work, Alice, isn't it?"
It is, but it was a stroke of genius because it looks amazing on her.
Yeah,
I
it
couldn't
does,
pull
doesn't
off
it?
that color.
Why don't you give us a twirl? And Dottie looks at you nonplussed.
I would just lean next to Penny and be just like, come on, you look amazing in that.
She twirls, and of course, it corners really well, so it kind of opens out. And everyone can now see that she's actually wearing trousers. And Penny's like, "Trousers? You didn't, did you?"
Long years of work.
"I guess that if you keep going, we will be sent to detention and we will have to climb out your window."
The wisteria is still there and looks more sturdy than during our time, so.
"Oh, you've already checked. That's good."
I took my old room because why not?
"Well, of course, of course. And I've got something for you because I knew you were coming. I was sent a guest list because I kept pestering them."
I didn't even ask, to be honest. I was
Well, I was afraid
surprised.
that if it was only Melinda and myself, and she doesn't keep her voice down, I would probably have to leave immediately.
I was hoping you would show up, so I just went for it, and well, at least I have company. Do you have company with you as well?
Yes, I do. I do. Did they also tell you that they need to take their food in the kitchen?
Yes.
I'm not having that.
I felt horrible sending Dottie there. Although she had a nice chat with the cook, so at least it was kind of a success.
Well, Alexandra is with Price and Bangor. They are going to pick up some. I sent her on an errand because I'm afraid that, the whiskey collection here may be out of bounds.
Well, I have a bit that we can add and try.
Alice.
It's,
Very good.
well,
So shall we just join the others? And she basically hooks you under one arm and Dottie under another, and the three of you walk towards the... well, Melinda, I'm not sure if you have met Alice and Dottie. Dottie, Alice, this is Melinda. Melinda, this is Dottie. This is Alice. And this is Sarah Marie.
Hi, Sarah. We haven't seen each other also in ages.
That is true. She gets up, she shakes your hand,
I will
and
shake
she
her hand
looks at
back.
Dottie. She what was the name again? Was it
Dorothy
Williams?
Williams, my assistant,
Dorothy.
yes.
It's nice to meet you, Dorothy. She doesn't use the Dottie form.
That's fine.
It's nice to meet you, Dorothy. How do you do? And Dorothy, how do you do's back. Um, and Miss Littlewood sits there and she smiles at everything really benignly. Melinda isn't doing so well. She's so how about I just get some biscuits? And Penny gets up, but then Dottie is a lot quicker than she is, and she says, "I know where the kitchen is, and I wanted to talk to Miss Gordon anyway. I'll be right back." And she walks out.
Thank you, dear. Well, it's lovely that at least a few of us made it back here.
Who else is here? Have you seen anyone else?
I only met Irene. I'm not sure if you remember her.
Let's see if they member her.
I will
Let's
give
see.
also the hint. She was the girl with the piano.
Okay, so that would give them a bonus die. Eh. Okay, so she will need a bonus die for this one. Penny does remember on a 30.
Okay.
Let's see how Miss Burley is doing, or Mrs. I should say. On a 58, that is a pass as well. Do we even care if Melinda knows?
No. Probably it's better for Irene if Melinda doesn't.
54,
Oh, she
she
remembers.
does. She does. She remembers.
Although the
And she
piano
says,
girl probably was not the worst case to handle. Maybe.
possibly, maybe she had to be dragged in front of the matron for playing at night or something,
might
but
be
that's as
something.
bad as it got.
Yeah.
And Penny's like, oh yes, but where is she? Don't tell me she's practicing, is she?
Well, she was already in the music room. We will meet around 6 because we will just enjoy some music.
Oh, a
If you wanna
piano
join?
recital, says Melinda.
No,
That
no,
is lovely.
no, not for you. Alice will be
Okay.
just frankly that's just. I highly doubt, Melinda, that it will be.
She has a critical fail on her stability roll. She rolled twice her amount of stability.
Oh God, she's crying now.
She's not crying.
Close to it.
But she looks at, if looks could kill, you would be dead on the floor, my dear.
That is. I highly doubt it's to your taste. Except you have changed from earlier or when we were younger.
Penny tugs at your arm lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not pick a fight on your first night. Maybe wait until tomorrow.
I just don't want to bring her there, and then Irene is like, oh God, who's that? Why?
Let me handle this. Listen, Melinda. I was talking to Miss Brightwood earlier, and she did tell me that there is still quite a lot of work that needs to be done in preparation for the gala dinner. And she asked me, but of course, you know, when it comes to me and dinners, it'll be soup and sandwiches. So I suggested you because I knew you were coming, because I had them send me one of the guest lists. So I told her that you would join her tonight to look at the gala dinner arrangements. And you know, I don't want to go back on my promise. I mean, I know I made it on your behalf. Fast talk. With a 28, yeah.
Bless her heart.
Melinda brightens considerably. Miss Littlewood simply chuckles in the background. And she says, yes, of course. I mean, yes. Did you fix the time? Yeah, 5 o'clock in her office. And Penny looks to you and...
Big responsibility, Melinda.
Yes, because the mayor and his wife from Bangor will be attending.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That will be interesting.
You need to work on your ironic tone. You need to work on your ironic tone, Alice. It hasn't improved. It still sounds very much like your normal voice.
I know. That's my biggest trait.
Yeah, and she hugs you. And basically now Dottie returns with biscuits,
Hmm.
and tea and coffee are already on the table. And yeah, so there is tea, there is biscuits, and then Miss Littlewood does mention at some point that she's now going to go to her room because she has a couple of matters to attend to, and she informs you all that dinner is at 7:30 in here. And for the servants, and she basically rolls her eyes, in the kitchen.
Miss Linwood, would you have a few minutes just? Ladies, I will be back just in a second.
Of course, what is it? What is it,
I
Baker?
just have a little something for you. Can I just grab it and just not.
Do come with me. Don't stand there, girl.
And I
Oh,
will
God.
just.
And she basically drags you out of it because obviously she lives on the top floor.
Mhm.
So you would have to take the same staircase. There are
Yeah,
several staircases, and one would take you
past my room.
around to all the floors and then to the attic.
I will just.
I have to say, you're wearing trousers and you're bringing your girl in here. That is some. What are you trying to do, Baker?
It's just reality. Life out there changes, and it's like it is.
She laughs wholeheartedly and she says, "Yeah, there was only one like you."
Well, probably Penny, right? Because
Yeah. The two of you. And that wisteria, don't think I didn't know.
I'm glad to see it's still there.
Yes, it is, and I'm pretty sure it's still being used for the same purpose.
Well,
I've made a point of tending to it.
it's nice to see that the next generation is just following in my footsteps.
Yeah, the next generation is following in your footsteps. I wish there were more of you, though. So, what is it that you wanted to give to me?
Well, first of all, thank you for saving Linda from a crash down or me from a crash down. And I will just just grab from my room the little wrapped up package and just hand it out to her. I still owe you, so this is a very late payback.
I mean, it does have kind of like the shape of a cigar case, so she basically. Yes, I knew it was you.
Well, thank you for the experience because I did not enjoy it. It was not for me, but I'm enjoying it now. A good cigar.
She opens the package, she opens the box, and she looks at it. I mean, I assume it's
Good
fairly
quality.
it's kind of like in the middle range, maybe not the most expensive.
It's not
but
most expensive.
Yeah.
It's mid, but it's good quality.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. So, and she takes one out and she says, "Well then, have one on me." And she hands it to you, and says, "I'll see you at dinner."
Thank you. See you later.
And she vanishes up the stairs. And you notice that for somebody her age, she is very, very light on her feet.
Okay.
She glides up.
And I will then turn around and go back down and join the others again.
Yeah, and at some point, Melinda, way before 5, decides to leave because she's got urgent matters to attend. She informs no one in particular or everyone who's there, depending on how you view things, and she leaves you to your own devices. Sarah Marie is basically telling you about, she's married, she's got a husband, she's got 2 kids already, and she lives in Boston. She doesn't live in New York.
So, a bit closer by. And Penny, how did life treat you?
Well, what can I say? I got married. He's a dote and he travels a lot, so we hardly meet. Maybe every couple of months he's in town. He's oil. I said to him, "No, I'm not moving to Texas, darling."
I understand that. So, where are you located?
What other cities are there on the East Coast? There is Boston, there is New York, further south, Washington, D.C.
Washington.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, close by, Arlington,
Mm-hmm.
and of course,
Yeah.
Arlington. It was probably already this hero's war cemetery thingy back then. I don't know, but she lives in Arlington,
Okay.
Virginia,
Yeah.
so close to Washington D.C. Yeah, I said I'm gonna go south with you, but not that far south. I'm certainly not gonna move to Texas. So we have an agreement. He's got a mistress. I don't care. He gives me money. And I know that somebody will look after him when he's out there so he doesn't lose weight because, he doesn't really eat much unless somebody sets him down. Otherwise, it would just be, I suppose, sandwiches and beer. So he gets fed. I have my peace and quiet. I have money. And I've got a nice house in Virginia. What more could I ask for?
Not much. That sounds like a good way of living. You can enjoy life as it is without worrying too much.
And he enjoys his life. She's a really lovely girl from Texas. I mean, I hardly understand 2 words that she's saying, but the accent's terrible.
It is a weird accent. It is
And
so
she of
weird.
course has this upper class New York
Mm-hmm.
accent that is royalty as close as you can get to royalty in the United States. Yeah, but what about you?
Well, I have my own house in New York City,
Oh, that's brilliant.
and well, Taught my assistant, and I have my own job.
Really? What do you work? What is it that you do? I was always wondering what would become of you, and I was thinking maybe the second Madame Curie, or a
I
second Albert Einstein.
well,
You were always into science.
I still kind of am in my free time, but at least I'm working as a private investigator.
Alice.
I know, shocking. Don't tell Miss Brightwood. She will probably faint when she hears that.
Well, good for you.
Well, it was work to get out of the house, and my mother is every day
Oh, your mother is
disappointed
still at you?
that I am not married and living on my own at this age. But, yeah.
But you keep in touch, obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't know that she's worried.
Well, we don't keep in touch very often. Probably a chuckle from Dottie.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, every time I have contact with her, she makes sure I know.
Would you have introduced Penny to your family? Would you have spent
Yeah,
maybe a holiday
yeah,
there?
quite sure.
Okay, so she knows your
Yeah.
parents.
I mainly
Well,
talk to my father. It's much easier.
he smokes cigars,
Yes.
and your mother doesn't.
No, I'm surprised
But you
she's
do.
drinking, to be honest, but
Well, yes, I always liked your old lady. She's something else.
that is a good point to bring it. Yes, she's special.
Well, and you're a lot like her. You are a rebel, and I'm pretty sure she was too in her younger years.
But then she has not really any understanding. Or she doesn't want
What
iron
would she
much.
say to Bob and my arrangement?
Oh, she would be shocked, although she would probably rather have that kind of situation for me than the one I have. Being
I
married is
see.
important. Status symbol.
Well, that is true. Being married has opened every door for me in Arlington, Virginia. I get invited to everything. I get double booked. So, yeah, I am not bored.
There are a few things I'm not invited to because I'm not married and it would be difficult.
To tell you the truth, some of those are just plain boring. Especially the charity events. I'm happy to give money, but no, I have to show up.
Well, sometimes there are good things in between. But
Well, you do have to come down to to Arlington at some
yeah,
point.
and you
You
need to
do.
visit me in the city, and we can go out for theater or
Of
for
course, yeah, that is
dancing if
a.
you're up to it.
And she looks at Dottie, and you will have to come too, because otherwise, this one won't even eat on the train. She's terrible when it comes to eating. And I see it hasn't changed. She's all skin and bones. Scrawny. Scrawny. And you know that everybody has been telling you that you've been
Yeah.
losing weight from Cesar to Mr. Thornton to God knows everyone. And of course the cook, but cooks always
It
say that.
has always been like that. It will probably never change as long as I have a nice cup of coffee in the morning. I am a happy person.
She looks at Dot, she says, she really hasn't changed. Take it from me. I remember it was always coffee in the morning and nothing else.
So it's not your fault, Audie, obviously. It's programmed in my genes. It just has to be like that.
Well, Dottie, tell me, what has Alice told you about her school life, huh?
Probably too much.
You know what? Tomorrow, you and I are going to have a cup of coffee. I'm going to tell you a couple of things about dear Alice here. And she talks about you like you're not.
Mm-hmm. Sarah Marie.
Sarah Marie has been listening with great interest. Yeah. Well, I mean, my life isn't as interesting as Penny and Bob's, but
How are the
it
kids
works for
doing?
me. Hmm?
How is the family then? She had kids, you said, right?
Yeah, two.
The kids, how old are they?
Well, they are 5 and 6.
Okay, so still
Very young, yes.
young and
Yeah.
wild. You plan on bringing at least.
Yes,
Yeah.
my eldest, she will come here because, of course, it is a good school.
I-
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was probably a lot. I probably had a lot less adventures than you two did, but I enjoyed school.
Well, I honestly enjoyed school as well, and next to us breaking the rules a bit, I learned a lot here. I learned a lot that is still helpful to this day, so I understand why you're planning on sending her here, although they really need some support. I get why we're invited.
Yes, I got a letter with a figure in it,
Oh, I didn't.
4 digits. Oh, it's going to be in your room
Okay.
by the time you get back.
Well, it's not surprising. At least they
No.
are trying to keep the appearance.
Yes.
The stables are in good shape.
Oh yes, I remember. You used to ride, didn't you? It was never my thing.
Oh, I wasn't really good at it, but it was a way to get out.
Yeah, and I never really understood why anyone would get up on a horse, says Penny. You were just too much, Baker.
Well, with a horse, you were free to go wherever you like, much quicker than by foot. Although I have to say, our tree is still there behind the stables.
Really?
They cut down the branches, so you can't really climb up anymore to get on the roof. That is a
Well,
bit
that's a shame
disappointing.
because that was lovely in summer, wasn't it?
It was, but the tree is still there. And to be honest, I pulled out a cigarette exactly standing next to the tree out in the open and enjoyed the smoke. Because now we can.
She takes out a cigarette case and she lights a cigarette and she offers the cigarettes to everyone. And actually, Sarah Marie takes one. Do you take one?
I will definitely take one. I'm quite sure Dottie probably not.
No, Dottie doesn't smoke. Yeah. And she gives everyone a light. And at some point,
And I
the
would
door opens.
okay. I would also keep the eye on the clock because I don't
Mhm.
want to miss the 6.
Yeah, it's now 4 o'clock,
Okay.
or half 4, and the door opens,
Mhm.
and in steps Miss Brightwood, and you hear her. Pam, Pam, please open a window. Well, my ladies, may I ask you to not smoke in here, please? It sets a bad example for the others. When they get back, it will smell of smoke. You know that this is a total lie because they're not back until the 4th of December, 4th of January.
We can take it outside. That's not a problem.
Yes, please do.
Come on, let's go for a short walk.
You go outside and you smoke. Now it's already, the sun is already set, and it is coming basically up to 5 o'clock, and then Sarah says that she's going to go out inside because she wants to do some reading before dinner, and she says, well, then I guess I'll see you at dinner 7:30.
We will see you at 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we will just stand, I guess, right in front of the building, just
Mm-hmm.
outside enough, but
Mm-hmm.
not too far away.
Yeah.
And then I will, well, ask Penny as well, if you're into jazz, join us with Irene.
Well, who isn't? What do you mean join you? For what?
Irene wants to play a bit of jazz music on the piano.
Irene plays jazz.
Yes.
That's not the Irene that I remember.
I only remember that she loved music and played the piano. I never really caught up on what kind of music, although honestly here she was probably pushed into playing classical stuff.
Yes. Can you imagine jazz being played? That's the devil's music. Oh my god, the house is gonna fall down.
Well,
Let's go inside.
let's see how it is.
Okay. And basically you have still a couple of minutes. Dottie says that she wants to change before you go, and because obviously she's still wearing outdoor clothes, and
Yeah,
it
me
is
as
warm
well.
inside.
I guess we will all decide to change up, or at least Alice wants to change up as well. And then we can just meet in front of the music room, I guess, and then afterwards walk together to dinner.
Okay, so you go and change, you meet in front of the music room, and before we open the door to the music room, we'll take a short bio break.
Okay, let's do
And I'm
that.
gonna get a martini.
Einen Martini.
Okay, so you are standing outside of the music room, and you can hear somebody already kind of like playing. Although it doesn't sound like jazz at all, it's more like somebody's playing scales, as if they are trying to maybe warm up their fingers, or that kind of thing. So do you step inside? Do you knock? What do you do?
I will knock on the door.
Okay, you walk inside, because there is no reply,
Okay.
but the playing stops.
Okay. Then I will just stick my head inside properly. Irene?
Oh, hello. Do come in.
I brought someone on top, so sorry for the company, but we could keep Melinda at bay. Oh, honestly, Miss Littlewood could keep Melinda at bay not to join us.
Oh, Melinda is here.
Yes. But
Well
hey,
then.
Penny, I guess you two, maybe you remember each other?
Penny steps forward and shakes her hand, and she says, "You probably don't remember me, but and I'll be honest, I don't really remember you, but that doesn't mean that we can't make an acquaintance now." And Irene basically, I mean, this is probably the most straightforward way to say it, and she's like, well, well met then. So why don't you sit down? And there are some chairs as well around the corner of the room, around the walls of the room. And Dottie sits down, and you sit down, and Penny sits down, and then she starts playing, and it is jazz. And she's actually quite a good musician. It's nothing it's in the style of jazz, but it's not a melody or melodies that you have heard before.
I think Alice will just tap her foot in the rhythm, because I guess she has rhythm enough from dancing.
Well, I mean, you're a good dancer. I mean,
exactly.
as well,
she's just horrible at playing music instruments. And she's definitely not a good singer, so she will just tap her foot in and just enjoy it.
She plays a full set, and it is a mixture between, well, today we would probably call it cool jazz, but also then some really fast stuff. And then basically, once the fast stuff is over, she brings you all down again to a very, very soft and slow set. And before you know it, it's 6 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. So she's played for an hour, but the hour passed really quickly. And then she does a little twiddly bit, and she finishes.
Definitely a little applause from Alice. That was amazing.
She turns around. You know how they have swivel chairs sometimes, and she turns around. She says, "Why, thank you."
I never asked, did you go professionally into music, or is it just, well, how you play, it's not just a hobby? Passion, it definitely still is.
Um, things happened.
Okay. But it was a wonderful play, thank you. I
You're
really
welcome.
enjoyed it. I heard much worse music than this, so that was a joy to enjoy.
Penny smiles and she says, "Well, what she said." And Dottie just nods. She doesn't say much. I mean, she likes music, but it's not like she knows a lot about it. But she enjoyed it. She did. And then she says, "Well, I'll have to change for dinner.
Yeah, I
If
think.
you'll excuse me.
See you later.
See you later."
It's a question. Did we already change? I think
You did,
we
because
already
you were still
changed.
wearing outdoor clothes and it was simply too warm. You look at her and you're not really sure why she would change, because she's wearing indoor clothes. It looks pretty, but then again, if a lady decides that she needs to change, then she needs to change, and you don't ask questions.
Alice is
And she
also
leaves,
not wearing pants anymore. She's wearing a dress now.
as is Dottie. Dottie is wearing a costume, kind of like
The only thing, the dress might be just at the edge of being too short, but
as long as there is no long cut from your knee up to your waist, everything's fine.
it's fashionable and it's on the edge, I would say.
It's on the edge,
It's
yeah.
on the edge.
You can give me a psychology roll, though.
Okay, I don't even have to look because a 6 is definitely a good roll. Psychology, that's a critical success.
Okay.
Goodness grace, how many low rolls am I doing today?
As long as you keep tapping, as long as you keep ticking, that's fine. Which reminds me, I need to tick, but I don't have it.
That. I want to. Yeah, I did.
And basically, yeah. There is something really weird about Irene. You can't put your finger on it, but there is something going on.
Yeah. I share that with Penny and Dottie. There's something to the girl. I'm curious.
Yeah.
What
She said something happened. Things happened.
Yeah.
Oh, did you notice she's not married?
It's a question, did I notice? I'm not sure if I
don't know.
cared.
Did you look at her finger?
As a habit, probably.
Yeah. She doesn't wear a ring.
Well.
And there's also no sign that there used to be a ring.
Well, that's two of us not being married. That's not a bad thing. Maybe unusual, maybe not.
She also didn't bring anyone else.
Well, let's see if we can learn a bit more about Irene, because I'm really curious. The way she plays, she should be on stages.
Yeah, she should be, shouldn't she? Especially in New York, I suppose she would be. I mean, in Arlington, this would be a scandal, but I think in New York, you could have a female jazz pianist, couldn't you?
Yeah, easily. There are a few out there. It's rare, but if they're good, you will find an audience and also club to give you a performance space.
Okay. So you go downstairs for dinner.
Yeah.
Dottie looks at you and she raises an eyebrow. You know that she won't be joining you. You know that she'll be eating in the kitchen because she just...
Alice will just nod to Dottie. Do whatever fits best for you. You know where I am. I know where you are.
I'll come by your room later.
Okay. See you later.
Mm-hmm. And she walks away, and Penny looks at you and she says, have you known her long?
Dottie.
You seem to have known her quite a long while.
Well, she's the reason that I was able to leave my parents and be on my own. So we've been together for a while.
She has her own mind.
Thankfully so.
She's not a servant, is she?
No, my mother still calls her like that. And honestly, we chose her for that, but next to her being an excellent cook, excellent seamstress, excellent housekeeper, she is also, as you said, a person with her own strong mind and will. She's learning quickly on whatever you show her. She is maybe not as modern as I am, but she's slowly growing to it. Maybe I'm not the best or a good influence, depending on who you talk to, I guess.
Well, I'm pretty sure that your mother would say you're not a good influence.
I honestly never seen her wear trousers. This is the first time.
Really?
Yes,
She pulled them off really well, though.
I am so proud of her.
You should tell her she should wear them more often. She's got the figure for it.
I'm carefully moving on because she came from a Catholic home where everything is straight but put forward.
Oh dear, she's Irish, is she?
Yes. Thank goodness for that. The stubbornness is helpful most of the time.
Especially if she needs to live with you.
Probably.
Oh, go on. And she gives you a hug and she drags you to the dining room. Dinner is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's there. Melinda is there. Miss Littlewood is there. You can now also see, obviously, Miss Brightwood is there, and she's greeting the students of days gone by, and she's giving almost like a speech, and Penny kind of like, will she give over? I'm hungry. Whereas, of course, Melinda is hanging on every word she's saying. Sarah Marie is kind of staring listlessly into space.
Mm-hmm.
And Irene is sitting there. She seems to be paying attention. And then, of course, there is Miss Phillips, Maths and Science. You do remember her. She was the person in the chemistry lab. Miss Bolton, English and History and Latin. And, of course, Mademoiselle Geneviève Martin, French, who has her leg elevated. And you can see that somebody's put kind of like it's not a cast, but it's kind of like a bandage on it. And when she moves, you can tell that she is in discomfort. She seems to be in pain. And it does seem to be genuine.
Oh dear, I should have brought a second walking cane just to support her.
Penny's like, I never asked what happened to your leg. And she doesn't make any kind of like, she's not even trying to hide it. So Irene is basically paying close attention.
Well, the details, maybe we should discuss in private.
So it was a riding accident. I always told you to stay away from the horses.
No. There are horses in New York City, but I haven't been on a horse since the day I left school.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to hearing all the details. Oh, look, there's the soup. Nice segue away from the... I don't want to give you any details. And the soup comes in and it's good.
I'm happy to give Penny the details, but I don't want the others to know
she
the
realizes
details.
this. You can make a psychology roll, by the way, but this time you get the opposite of a bonus die.
Okay, so the lower, the worst,
Yeah.
no, the higher roll, basically.
Yeah.
Psychology is still a success.
Well, she was trying to help you with the horse story, but you just didn't catch on.
Oh.
Yeah, and she gives you kind of like this exasperated look that you know so well. That she would always give you when you fell off the wisteria and made a racket.
Well.
And dinner is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Dotty good, but it's good. There is conversation. Miss Littlewood has a very distinctive laughter. She doesn't really kind of care about what people think. She left caring like 5 exits past. Um, and kind of like between the main course and dessert, she takes out her knitting and starts knitting. She's completely out there. The only thing that's missing is her smoking a cigar.
That's why we always loved her.
Yeah, and of course there are the two girls, the maids are now serving. There are two.
Mm-hmm.
You know this. There would always be 2 to 3 that the hands that would also be helping in the kitchen. They're basically moving plates, serving dinner, and then dinner is an affair that lasts about 2 hours. After that, Irene actually looks at both of you and she says, "If you would excuse me, I have a couple of things that I would like to do."
Sure.
And I also want to do some practicing. Don't take this personally, but
No, no, we will leave you alone, but looking forward. If you need company, you know we are somewhere to find.
I would like that. And she gets up and she nods to people. She avoids Melinda's eye totally,
I can't judge her on that. Bonus points for Irene.
and she leaves. And then Melinda also gets up and says to everyone, in particular, that she will now, and loudly to Miss Brightwood, that she will now look at the list that Miss Gordon made with regard to buying the food and checking the prices.
Oh God, I think
You know that you would never check on the prices that the cook provides because that's their domain.
I'm just like thinking Miss Gordon either will murder her or will not be happy about it. So that's an interesting point. As if Miss
Miss
Gordon
Brightwood says,
didn't.
"Yes, dear, do. Very good. It's always good to ensure that the servants are correct and meticulous." Penny sucks in the air.
Breathe, breathe.
Not even your mother would have said that.
No, my mother is a human being.
And to hear you say that, Alice.
It's worth something, isn't it?
And she lifts her glass. I mean, there's wine.
At least some alcohol. She will. Should we maybe meet in the study later on?
Sure. Yeah.
Just chit chat a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I will bring something.
Yeah. And she says, "I'll take my leave now, and I'll meet you there in half an hour."
That sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
Bring her with you if you want to. I never met her so far.
Oh, yeah. She's probably making fast friends with Dottie. I'll see if Alexandra has time. You know, she's not on duty, so I don't know what her plans are for the evening, but I'll ask her.
I will ask Dottie as well. Maybe they would enjoy it. And if not, then not.
So essentially, she goes outside. Well, not outside. Outside, she leaves the room. Miss Littlewood is also saying, "Well, I will go for a turn in the garden, and then I'll turn in." Miss Brightwood, and she smiles at her. Then she says, "Miss Bolton." She smiles at her. Miss Phillips. She smiles at her, and then she says, "Miss Martin, tomorrow morning at 7, I'm gonna come to your room, and we're gonna take another look. Please, I will send up one of the hands with ice. You need to cool and elevate your leg tonight. Please do this for me, all right? And here's a little something." And she hands her a dark brown bottle, small with a stopper. 1 spoon.
Alice would carefully, also on the way to excuse herself, she would stop probably next to Miss Martin and Miss Littlewood. Miss Martin, if it would help, I have a walking cane that you could at least have for the time being I'm here. Maybe that makes walking a bit easier for you. Should I bring it to your room?
That would be very, very nice, Miss Alice.
Perfect.
and she does recognize who you are. You do remember her, but
Mm-hmm.
of course she has aged quite a lot. I mean, you think that she might be 45, but she looks,
Older.
and she also looks quite thin. Yeah, not not healthy thin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she then and she smiles at you. And
Or if you
so
wait a few minutes, I can just bring it. Then you can try it from here on.
oh, that might be better. And Miss Littlewood actually nods and says, "Yeah, Baker, that would be a good idea. Run along."
Just give me a second. And Alice
Mhm.
literally will run out of the room. She doesn't care about etiquette in this case.
And you go upstairs. You fetch your cane. You go
Exactly.
downstairs again. You hand it to Miss Martin,
Martin.
and she thanks you, and she says, and Littlewood, and Miss Littlewood looks at it and she says, "That's a very nice cane you've got there, Baker. Whatever happened to your leg anyway?"
Well, an accident, unfortunately, and it's taking its time, but it's getting
Yeah,
better
I always
each
said
day.
stay away from those horses. You were never a good rider.
No.
And she basically slams her hand on your shoulder because you
Mhm.
know that she actually does ride, and she's quite a good rider too.
Well, we are still thinking about maybe taking a ride tomorrow. I haven't sat on a horse for a while, but it would be fun.
All the ones that we have now are much calmer than the ones that we used to have. You will be fine.
Okay.
But no galloping, Baker, no galloping.
Can't promise that, as you know me, but yeah, I'm glad that my.
But I can still try.
Yes. I will try to be careful.
That's all I'm asking. You've always been. You and that penny.
We
And she
had the
shakes a
best
finger
time
at you.
here at the school. We learned a lot.
Yes, well, I think that there may be a person or two in this room who might actually disagree with you there. And she just walks off. And she goes out. And then you can excuse yourself if you like.
Yeah, I would. Also, Miss Martel would have gotten the cane that is more for walking outside, the sturdy one.
Is that the one with the...
No, it's
Okay,
just a simple walking cane, just
yeah.
for being outsy, basically. And
Yeah.
the one
Yes, the
with the
blade.
pointy bitch is the one I have with me.
Okay. So you go outside. You actually, as you walk outside, Dottie leaves the kitchen
Mhm.
as well, and she says, "Oh, did you enjoy dinner?"
Mostly. Well, food was good. Was really nice. It got a bit lengthy, but hey. Do you want to meet up in a bit with Penny and maybe Alexandra, if she likes to, in the study? Just talking a bit, just enjoying.
Yes, sure. Alexandra is... Does the word taciturn mean anything to you? She's very quiet. Are you sure that she actually is with Penny? Because she is very quiet.
Well, Penny counts a lot on Alexandra, so.
No, I'm not saying that at all, but she's quite different than what I expected. She's nice.
I am looking forward to meet her. I'm curious.
You will be surprised, I suppose.
Because, well, as you learn and saw already in a few occasions, Penny is not far away from me. That's why we
She's
got
not.
along
She's
that
only
well.
maybe 2 steps away from crazy, if you ask me. But hey, so are you. And
That is a bit rude, but I will let that pass because it's probably quite true.
she says, "Yes. And I apologize."
Don't.
And she doesn't mean it.
No, just be honest. That's
She basically says, "So let's just go." And this time she doesn't walk behind you. She walks right next to you.
We need to go up. I need to grab something before we.
Sure. And she follows you. Well, basically, the two of you walk upstairs. She goes quickly into her room. She basically, I don't know, fetches a handkerchief or something. And then
I
the
will
two of
just
you...
probably also grab like a light jacket or shawl or anything, just if it gets a bit
Yeah.
more cold, that I have something there. And I will obviously have my handbag with me now, which is a bit weird, but I will do so. And it's a bigger kind of handbag, and it has a bottle in it.
Of course it does, doesn't it? So you go to the study room, which is basically a big room. It's also kind of like a library, so there are books everywhere. It's actually a real library with stacks and everything. And you see in front of you a young woman,
Hmm.
maybe 25, black hair, dark brown eyes, brown complexion, white teeth. She looks like she's just been in the sun. And Dottie says, Alexandra, may I present Miss Alice Baker?
Nice to meet you.
Alexandra shakes your hand, and you can now give me a, I don't know, maybe knowledge, well, maybe spot hidden kind of. Yeah. Give me a spot hidden.
Another critical success.
You would say definitely Greek.
Hmm.
Yeah. So really like Southern Greek.
Olive tone
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah. Um, and
So you are the mysterious Alexandra Penny was talking about. Nice to meet you.
I don't know about mysterious.
Well, you are the last ones, basically, of all the people here that I meet. So I was a bit curious who would be the person who can handle my dear Penny.
Well, congratulations, you found her.
And, well, it will be nice just to sit down and talk in peace and quiet without the teachers running around.
Yes, I was interested to see what this was going to be like.
It's something.
It is, isn't it?
It's still surprising how Penny and I made it alive out of here, but we managed.
And she looks at Dottie and she says, yeah, Dottie told me a couple of things.
Did Penny warn you about any stories you would hear?
She basically told me to stay away from you because you would be a bad influence, and Dottie concurs.
Well, I'm not sure I'm a worse influence than Penny is, but I'll
She opens
keep
a
that in
cigarette case
mind.
and starts smoking, and she offers you.
I will
And
take
Dottie.
one, but I will be crazy enough to open the windows at least. That's some air
Dottie
distance.
says, thank you, I don't smoke. And Alexandra says, good for you. And she is impeccably dressed, and she has really, really, really long, dark blue hair. So like this really dark blue hair that some people in Southern Europe have, and she is amazingly beautiful. But then you notice that she really doesn't talk that much. She's a very good listener.
Yeah.
It's not like she's trying to hide you don't think, but she is more like somebody who likes to be with people, but not necessarily be the center of attention or
Tension.
taking part. She is more, every so often she will say something, but she's really quiet. And Dottie, of course, also tends to be more quiet when you're with your friends, so she sits there. But even compared to Dottie, this one's quiet.
So Penny joined us already.
And he says, Alexandra, here you are. I went to your room. Do you have my cigarette case? And Alexandra lifts it. And where did I leave it this time? I found it outside your room. It must have dropped from your pocket. Madam.
Where did you find that jewel of a person, Penny?
Well, I walked into a shop in Arlington and there she was, selling stockings. Can you imagine?
Not really, but
What a waste.
must have been fate bringing you two together.
That's what I've been saying all along, and Bob really adores her.
Alice is not sure that is a good thing, but she will just keep it to herself. Is anyone fancying maybe a bit of whiskey?
Of course. Hand it over, Baker.
I will pull out a bottle. I will probably even be have been smart enough to have some glasses with me, at least a smaller one. So I will also pull out, in quite theatralic way, the bottle and a glass and the next glass and put it down. My lady, I hope this whiskey is to your liking.
Well then, why don't you pour me a glass, dear?
I will open the bottle. I will put in a small amount. I will be decent. It's not
Yeah.
about getting completely drunk here, and I will pull and I will look at Alexandra for you as well.
Um, no, not tonight. Um, Tomorrow, not tonight.
Okay.
I and Penny looks at you and she says, "Yeah, she's a bit exhausted after the traveling. We
And
had to get up really early."
yeah, you had quite a trip as well.
Yeah.
Penny, how do you feel?
Well, I'm actually also feeling it now, but I'm gonna have a whiskey and I'm gonna sit here for another 20 minutes or so with you and just but we have basically more than 4 days left and
We
it'll
do, we
be
do.
we'll make time, but I am feeling it now.
That
But yeah,
is.
it is actually so lovely to see you again. It's sad that we basically lost sight of each other. But and she turns to Alexandra. Alexandra, please make a note that we need to send invitations to Ms. Baker and Miss Williams to join us in Arlington. You can see if Bob has time. He can bring Sabine if he wants to, but Sabine really is most happy when she's in Texas. So if he has time and if he wants to join us, so be it. But don't make it urgent. It's just the four of us then. But do tell him that we're having guests. You know how he is. You know, he wants to know what happens in his house.
Well, I will be delighted to give you a visit. Also, Alice is just looking at Dottie, just askingly with a bottle, just to see if she gets a nod or. Okay, then she knows.
Hmm.
And then she will just put down the bottle between, just lean back.
Hmm.
Well, it
And
has been a long day, hasn't it?
yeah, it
How did
has,
you
hasn't it?
arrive here? We arrived by train and were picked up.
Yes, so did we. But we had. Oh God, we took the train from Washington. Of course, there's no direct train from Arlington. So Washington to New York, New York to Boston. We had to wait for 3 hours for the connecting train, and then we arrived. And we've been traveling. How long was it? And Alexandra just says 16 hours in total.
Oh dear, I thought our trip overnight from New York was a lot.
Oh, you had a night train? No, we didn't. We got to travel half a day and then the night, and the night train was terrible. I can tell you, it was terrible. And then Alexandra says the windows didn't shut properly.
That sounds like a nightmare. Our train was surprisingly good, I have to say.
Yeah, it was the direct train from Boston. We got kind of like it was terrible. But on the way back, we are going to stop in Boston for a couple of days, and then Bob is gonna meet us, and then he's gonna go back to Texas. He's doing something in Boston. Don't ask me. Do they drill for oil in Boston?
No,
Possibly, maybe
I don't
no.
think
But he's
so.
he's in Boston for a couple of days, so we will meet up, and yeah, and then we're gonna go and our separate ways again. I mean, I'm sure that if you met him, you would like him. He's quite good looking, isn't he, Alexandra? And Alexandra's like, yeah, he is actually quite a looker. And he's a very good dancer, Alice. He's a very good dancer.
That
You
is
would
definitely
like him.
plus points on a list for any person. Well, on the way back, you can think about maybe stopping in. If you go via New York, you can stay and visit us.
Alexandra, we should totally check out trains that take us to New York and then travel from there. Will you? Do you think you can do this over the weekend? Maybe check something out. You could talk to Price, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll figure something out."
You're always welcome to stay. Just let me know when you arrive. We will organize that you are picked up.
Do you
And
have enough room for two?
yes, we can manage that without a problem.
Alexandra just nods quietly, and then Penny says, "That's a deal, Baker. That's a deal."
Perfect.
And so basically, another while continues, but Alexandra does excuse herself then, and Penny then also says good night. And well, Dottie also is looking kind of tired at this stage, and you are also feeling it because
Yeah,
obviously, yes, you did sleep on the train, but it's not quite the
it's not the
same.
same. I
And
will pack up as well, and
Mhm.
I will go towards my room. I'm honestly still quite happy that Penny did not ask about the leg anymore, although I'm quite sure it will come up
It's
another
probably because
day.
Gesine forgot to
Yeah,
ask.
but maybe it will come up. We are still stuck a few days together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will go to bed as well, just tiptoeing upstairs, making sure everything is back in my handbag. And trying to get an early night.
Mhm. Okay, well, it's now round about 10:30 to 11, so
Yeah,
it is kind of
it's really
early.
time.
And then Dottie holds up a piece of paper to you.
Mm-hmm.
It indicates that breakfast will be served at 8.
Okay, that is
And
a
she
nice
says,
time.
I will wake you at 7:30. I'm going
Thank
to
you.
give you half an hour back of sleep.
Thank you. That sounds like a good idea.
And then she says, is there anything else, or
No, just have a good sleep. I hope
you too?
Belinda will not haunt you in that room.
I certainly hope so too.
Well, honestly, you could easily scare her off, so don't worry about that. And
But I'm so innocent.
yeah, I think she would have problems finding something on you to criticize. Though the pants were a bold move, I think she would not approve that, but they look good on you, so
You
that,
think so?
yes, definitely. And it's practical for being out here.
I found that too. I found that too. So maybe when we do get the horses out, I should be wearing them.
It's much easier, and you don't have to worry about who could see what and what is happening with the skirt. Pants are much more relaxed in that way.
Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Good
Sleep
night.
sound. And you go to bed.
Yeah,
You can do whatever you like.
I will
She
just.
closes the door. She locks the door because
Mhm.
you can actually lock them from the
Yeah.
inside. And you go to sleep
Yes.
at 7:30. Rise and shine.
I will be out in a second.
Yes, yes, yes. And you do what you need to do in the morning. Then you go downstairs, and there are some people there. So Miss Littlewood is there, Miss Phillips and Miss Bolton,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Penny
Mm-hmm.
and Melinda.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Marie and Irene are nowhere to be seen. But then again, it's they might say they don't want breakfast. They might take it a little bit later. God knows. They might have asked their maids to or servants to pick something up. Although Irene didn't bring anyone, so you don't know about that. You have breakfast, and then Penny says, "So what are you up to today? You were talking about taking out the horses."
Yeah. Also, Alice would have already been in trousers and basically riding gear because she would have thought about it while packing. So she has
Okay,
trousers on, high boots, and practical warm clothing. Not very ladylike,
I see
but
you're dressed for the occasion.
well, I thought it would be a good idea, so I packed in that way that I have a little bit for everything.
Melinda is, of course, impeccably dressed.
I don't really give her
Look
too
at
much attention. Well, I still have her, honestly, I will still look on what she's doing and what she's saying, but I will ignore it the second she looks at me, obviously.
She is as sweet as pie.
Mm-hmm.
She drips honey from her lips when she speaks to you.
I will just try to stay out of her way as best as I can to not start an official war again, like we had during school time, probably.
She sees what you're wearing. Well, Alice, isn't that just
Practical for going on a ride on the horses outside.
of course. And that girl of yours, is she going to go with you?
Well, obviously.
I see.
You know what friendship is, don't you?
friendship
Hmm?
with servants?
She's not a servant. You might
Penny
have.
chuckles. She doesn't even try to hide it.
Alice will just lean back, take another sip of the coffee. People live different lives in New York City. We have assistants that are
So I
friends.
see. So I see.
That's progress in modern world.
She drinks her coffee. Progress and the modern world are two things that are anathema to Melinda
I can imagine so.
Stonebrook.
So, Penny, do you want to join us?
Oh my god, remember the last time I sat on a horse? I broke 3 ribs. No way. No way. You're going on your own. I have a couple of things that I want to discuss with Alexandra.
Should we meet up after lunch? Or for lunch?
Yes, I would love that. I would love that. But maybe, and she looks at Melinda Stonebrick. Say that again about where do servants eat their dinner and lunch? Was it in the kitchen? Yes, it's in the kitchen. You know what? We should go there because the kitchen is a really warm place.
I like that
Let's
idea.
have lunch in the kitchen.
That is a good idea. Let's do that.
I'll just go and run and tell the cook.
Perfect.
I'll see you later.
See you
Toodles. And she runs off and
I will stay for a few minutes, sit and drink the last bit of my coffee and just watch Melinda on how she reacted to this.
Yeah, Melinda isn't taking this easily and she is not happy, but then again, she isn't saying anything either because there's 2 of you at the moment and nobody's supporting her.
Well, then I will put down the cup of coffee, or the empty cup now. Well, that was a lovely breakfast. Have a nice day, Melinda. And I will just stand up and leave the room and see if I can find Dottie.
Dottie is actually, if you look, she's in her room. She's just changed into. She didn't go down for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast in trousers. She was wearing something different. So now
Yeah.
she's put on trousers. She's put on her boots. And she says, "So horse riding."
Yeah, let's give it a go.
So we get on the horse. I was thinking maybe I could lead the horse and you're riding because I'm not sure if what if I fall down?
It hurts if you fall down, so stay just on top of the horse. That's the goal.
11. Your total callousness doesn't shock her.
By now, she should know better.
Yeah. And you basically go to the stables and you take out 2 horses.
Yeah.
You know a little bit about them, and Miss Littlewood told you that they're all very placid. So you just take 2 horses, one that's not so tall for Dottie, and the 2 of you ride out. You have to get down and open the gate because it was difficult enough for her to get up with your help. If she's without your help, it's going to be really difficult. And you ride out, and yeah, and do you want to take the left or do you want to go straight on?
I would say straight on, but in a not too quickly. So trying just
leisurely pace,
just to be safe and sound on the horses.
And you sit on the horses for, let's say, an hour or so, and you do make better time than yesterday on foot because yesterday you were also looking at stuff. And yeah, and you come to the bench that you passed. You keep going. You come to the place where there's still some blood on the ground, and now there's kind of like a little bit of a mist over the lake, and the sun's shining through. So it's now, today is not as nice as yesterday. So today the sunshine is really hazy. How long do you want to ride for?
I think an hour is probably enough.
Yeah, because you also have to go back.
Yeah, we have to go back. So not too far. Also having in mind that we are both not the safe and soundest on the horses.
Okay. You go home and
we take care of the horses.
So that does bring you up to lunchtime, thereabouts.
Definitely.
You come back to the house and you hear 2 people talking, and it is Miss Bolton and Miss Brightwood. And Miss Bolton says, no, I'm sorry, I haven't seen her all day. I saw her at dinner last night. I don't know where Irene is. I didn't see her breakfast, but then again, I had just a very quick breakfast. I didn't see anyone except Miss Littlewood this morning, and I don't know. I mean, maybe we could check her room. And Miss Brightwood basically says, yes, we should do that, and the two of them walk away.
Should we worry about Irene? She was a bit weird.
Well, but I mean, what could you do? Where could you go? I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Well, you can get lost in the middle of nowhere quite quickly.
You think she went outside?
Maybe. The horses were all there, right, when we left? Okay.
There was 5 there.
So, maybe she went into the woods and got lost.
You think so?
I don't know. Maybe
she doesn't strike me as the going to the woods type, though.
Let's check the music room. Just have a quick look there if we can see her here or there, and if not, I definitely feel like changing clothes.
Okay, so do you go to the music room first?
Yeah, first the music room.
The music room is empty.
Okay.
And it's pretty much like you remember leaving it. So basically, when she finished her recital and you all left, she closed the lid on the keys. On the keys. Yes, indeed. And she basically walked past you. She walked after you. She turned off the light. So nothing has changed. If she's been there in the meantime, then she has left it just as impeccably clean and impeccably put together as she did the previous evening. So you don't find a trace.
Okay. I would probably just open the cover a bit and just pling plong plong a few keys.
Sounds normal to you?
She said yesterday that she wanted to go here.
Yeah, she said she was going to come here in the evening, but depending on when that was.
Well, let's just hope she is somewhere. The house is big, and if she's outside, it's even harder to find her, probably.
Dottie opens the top of the piano and looks inside. She says, just checking, because the last piano we met had a book inside it.
True, although I highly doubt this one is maybe haunted by pupils playing horribly on it, but this place doesn't give you that kind of vibe.
You suddenly hear kind of like a diddle-lid. She lifted the lid and she basically played a little bit. What's wrong with her? She's drinking too much martini, I'm afraid.
Might be. So you seem to have a better musical feel than I have.
Just a little bit. It's the church choir, Miss Alice. It's the church choir.
That is it. Well, I would say let's get into fresh clothing and then we will have lunch in the kitchen.
Are you sure about this?
Yes.
All right. But I'm pretty sure that Melinda will not like this.
Well, she already knows because Penny was quite loud and open about it, but I enjoy having lunch with you, and if you are not welcome there, then I will join you because honestly, kitchen is a nice place to sit down and have a good meal.
Well, I mean, this world isn't so different from your mother's world. No. Honestly, I'm used to it. You don't have to do this.
But I hate this kind of... This is a servant. It's a lower being. That's just...
You do know that for many servants, that is the life.
I know, and I hate it because a lot of the rich, snobby people don't even know and recognize that without the servants, they would be lost. They wouldn't have any idea how to clean their clothes, how to clean the house, how to survive, eat, drink, and do anything.
Especially the eating part is true. And she...
Well, I'm making a very good breakfast and coffee, so it's not that I would die from starvation.
No, you wouldn't.
Also, I know where to get food if I need some.
Yes. And she calms you, and she's basically...
But I'm not able to cook as well as you are, so I am willing to enjoy it every single day.
Well, there must be a reason why you keep me around, and if it's just the cooking, I'm still fine with that. So let's go.
It's much more than that, but yeah, let's go.
I really wonder where Irene is, though. Because, I mean, at some point you must have gotten hungry. Maybe we could ask the cook if she was
Yeah,
in
let's
there.
see if she was in, because
Mhm.
Irene doesn't have someone helping or supporting, assisting, serving, however you want to call it.
Yeah, didn't she say that what was her name? Sybil couldn't
Yeah,
make
couldn't
it?
make it.
That is very strange, isn't it? I mean, even if she's not a servant, to say she couldn't make it rather than she. That's anyway. We will just see. We will talk to the cook and see what she says. And you change. She changes too because you do smell of horse.
Yeah.
You go downstairs. As you enter the kitchen, the cook is already there, and she says, "Oh, what would you be wanting?"
A small lunch. Also,
But you know that
probably.
lunches for the ladies is served in the great hall.
I know that, but I just feel comfortable to join the people I care about. Also, probably uh, Miss Thompson and Alexandra will join us as well.
Oh, will they now? Well, then, four plates. And she gets out four plates and she says, "Well, lunch isn't that big an affair today, so it's basically just some cold cut and soup."
If it's tasty like all the food we got so far, I'm a happy camper.
She smiles at you. And she basically prepares food, so it's really like four bowls of soup, or two because the other two aren't yet here. So and then some toasted bread,
Mm-hmm.
and then cold cut, and it's all placed in front of you. And then Penny and Alexandra walk in, and they go, "Oh, you're already here. That's good."
Well, plates are set.
Excellent. So tuck in, and Alexandra just rolls her eyes and she starts eating,
Miss.
and you have a really nice lunch. It's good.
Yeah, although before we probably really dig in, I would just. Miss Gordon, just to be curious, did Irene grab breakfast here?
Irene, no, Irene. I haven't seen Irene all day. Is she not? Maybe wasn't she at breakfast this morning?
No.
No, she hasn't been in. She's also not. And she turns to one of the kitchen hands. She says, "Did she place any order to have maybe food brought to her room?" "No, miss."
Okay.
"No, I'm sorry, I can't help you, dear."
Oh, thank
But
you for the.
but if she's you can tell her that she can come down anytime if she needs food. She's the quiet type. I'm sometimes afraid that she may not ask if she needs something, and I don't think she's got anyone with her, does she?
She doesn't. When we see her, I will remind her that she can just sneak in and grab a bite.
She doesn't need to sneak. It's enough if she knocks on the door.
Well,
I want people to knock because sometimes we're just basically handing too many plates, and if then somebody just opens the door, all the plates go flying, and who's gonna pay for it? No one. But then she basically leaves you alone because she is then, as you can see, looking at a list, and she says, "Okay, I really want to see how she would be paying less for this kind of food somewhere else. This is impossible. I will have to talk to Miss Brightwood. Or maybe just not cook this. Maybe I'll just strike this off the list if they think that my maths is off." And she starts striking out items on the list.
a big eye and sigh towards Penny, probably. Like, what did Melinda do?
Well, you don't know. Well, you have a good idea what she did, but she's also obviously pissed off the cook. So then, after a while, as you're having lunch, the door opens. Without knocking, Miss Brightwood steps in. She says, "Gordon, I'm looking for Irene. Has she been in?" And Miss Gordon looks at Miss Brightwood and she says, "No, madam, she's not been in." "Why?" "Well, she's been missing, and we're looking for her. So I thought, we've turned this place inside out. So I thought that maybe she was having lunch in the kitchen," and she's giving you the most disapproving look. If you were a flower, you would have withered.
Mm-hmm.
And no, madam, she hasn't been in. And the cook doesn't give her any more information. She's just very concise and very
Alice can
clipped.
stop herself. Miss Brightwood, should we maybe help and try to look outside and see if we can find her there? Maybe she got lost. The grounds are quite big.
21. I'm rolling really well. Um, well, I suppose it can't do any harm now, can it? Yeah, maybe the two girls can go and look for her. You do know what she looks like, right? She looks at Dottie and Alexandra.
All of us will go outside and we met and talked to her.
Oh, Miss Baker, you can't really miss Alice. It's cold outside. You know, it's there is a snowstorm coming. You shouldn't really be outside.
Well, we already been outside today, so it's not hurting us to go outside again.
She subsides. She actually doesn't give you any arguments there.
Also, the horses are in a really good state. It was fun to take them for a ride.
Oh, thank you. And she leaves, and then Penny's like, "That's really strange with Irene being away for so long. I mean, have you seen her today at all, or was yesterday the last time you saw her?"
Yesterday, the last time when she told us she's excusing herself because she wants to play again and study and do something. I'm not so sure.
She turns around. She says, "Alex, have you seen her today?" And Alex is like, "No, I saw her last night. At when you came back from dinner, she was there." And Dottie, basically, you know that she hasn't seen her at all. So,
Well, she definitely didn't take a horse because the horses were all there when we got there this morning. But let's maybe have a look around because there seem to be wild animals out there.
wild animals.
Well, we've seen a blood trail out in the snow outside of the grounds.
You haven't.
Well, we've been at Indian Pond out a bit walking, and
But you saw the
something
blood before she went
yes,
missing,
yes,
right?
yes. The blood
Good.
was there yesterday already after, and we talked to her
You just gave
afterwards.
me a fright there, Baker.
Well, now you're awake. So,
Excuse me?
what do you say? Finishing up?
Okay, let's get going.
Let's get going.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in warm, comfy clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's search the ground, and especially also maybe a bit of ground outside, and see if we can find her.
Yeah. And you basically change and you look outside, and then you notice that there is actually snow beginning to fall, and it's actually coming down in really big flakes. And then Dottie looks at you. Well, basically, she's joined you in your room after she's changed. After you've changed, she's like, "I think we should bring some form of light, because it is now getting really
Yeah.
murky dark." And and you notice, and you know one thing, there is light sources. They're probably somewhere in the attic, but you can get them if you ask, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, we would then definitely ask.
Mhm.
Safe and
So
sound is better than
Miss
sorry.
Littlewood, of course, will give you light sources. So they're like these almost like lanterns, kind of, that have like a little bit of a lens so that it focuses the light. And yeah, and you start searching the grounds. And I think here we will leave it for today to see what you find next week. Well, or the next time, actually.
Curious.
Yes. What is it with you and people vanishing when you're around?
I don't know.
It's your luck. So we will be back with you in a very short while. We hope you enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed drinking, but I shouldn't do this too often because it does get to me. And yeah, and see you soon. Stay safe.
Bye bye.
Bye.